Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding must be gained to attain food, clothing, and shelter. Once gained, justice, freedom, and equality, you can gain love, peace, and happiness. I profess to manifest whole words into living flesh. Peace, God.
BLACKICETV7, we have the respected, the one and only elder that we should learn and teach our children the information that he has to give and offer for us, because most of our elders are going, but we have an elder that is with us right now and continues to be with us, because I believe he's going to live beyond 100. But but I know that this is Baba Aru, and his presence is very vibrant. Baba Aru, greetings.
Thank you, sir.
Now we want to know all some of the travels that you have made and some of the information. And there's a question I really want to ask you before I start, because I always ask everyone in the forms of Kemetic science, is that does the heart think, and how can we describe it in Kemetic science?
As Heru, we know that the heart, the ebb, is the seat of your will. And so we cultivate the intelligence of the heart in order to receive a direct guidance from our ancestors. Remember that while all of the other organs are taken out of the body at the time of death in Kemet, the heart remains, because that's what you're to judgment. But judgment day is not just at the end of life. In our legacy, judgment day is every day. So we are challenged to keep our heart as light as a feather in order to overcome regret, anger, pain, enviousness. These are the commands of our heart, to stay as light as a feather, to follow into the ways of Ma'at. You see, all of us coming into this resurrection recognize ourselves as Heru. And when you know that you are Heru, you only have one job to do. That is to Serush Ma'at, to restore Ma'at. First, in your own being. A lot of us are over acidic because of our diet, so we are out of Ma'at. That's why we cultivate a lot of anger, a lot of jealousy, backbiting, because our bellies are polluted. So as we begin to clean up and fast and cleanse our temple, we will begin to come more into the center, and we will begin to have greater access to the heart. And remember, we have the heart of the reproduction system in our pelvic. We got the heart that pumps our blood in our chest, and we have the heart in our pineal gland. You see, so we have at least 3 major centers in our divine temple, because the heart is the core of being. That's why we call it in Spanish corazón. You see, that's right. Tura and tura.
So, you know, I'm trying to let people have a more of an education of, like, even on the Kemetic science level, because, you know, what happens is, because they've learned through the European-centric way of having a concept and a form of belief, and when you try to describe something out of even the Afrocentric ways, it's very hard for them to able to understand, because they read things in a form of literal sense. So I just want you to give us a little description on how to explain the forms of Kemetic way.
We have to remember that our stories, what they refer to as myths, are symbols. To be a symbol, it must have application in the lives of the people who created it, in spite of the passing of time. That's what I said, that the Osirian story is a story of African people. Osir was cut into 14 pieces. 14 nations sat down at the Berlin Conference to cut Africa up into 14 zones of European influence. It said that the body of Osir was put in a copper and sent out to sea, where it got caught up in the roots of a tree on the Isle of Byblos. The copper is the slave ship. Byblos is the Bible, in which we have been trapped for all these years. And we are in the Bible because there's so much African wisdom in there that the Shemitic shepherds got from our farmer gardener ancestors of the Nile. So we see that as we see today, we are coming full circle. Because I always thought that it was unfair that our Hebrew brothers kept on banging so hard against Egypt when it was the very seat that gave so much to their ancestors. So now we are re-establishing our union once again, our unity, so we can serve our community in our own spheres without battling each other. Because who is to be the Hebrew Israelite will be the Hebrew Israelite. One thing about the Kemetic legacy, you cannot be converted to this. You've got to feel it, and you've got to be called to it from within your own heart. That's what I have to say about the claiming of this legacy. So these myths, these stories, are ways in which we can identify who we are, and many of them are very prophetic, because the one I just told you about Asar, that's a prophecy. And I said that Asar, as I said before, is Lord of Amenta, which means a principle of resurrection that Asar represents is taking place here in the West. And that includes all our brothers and sisters in the so-called diaspora, all right, in so-called exile. And many of us, even though we may be at home on the continent of Africa, many of us are in exile in our minds because we've embraced the patriarchal system of sheep herders and desert wanderers. And it's time that we reclaim a Kemetic culture where we honor both the mother and father aspect of deity. That's why we say Tuahu in Torah. Praises to the divine mother and the father of all creation. We can never invoke the name for the divine that does not include the mother, because that's African culture.
Okay, so in future references into going into that form of what's happening today and how we can move forward in a Kemetic science way, how would we go around that?
The first thing we're called upon to do is to establish Ma'at within our own consciousness, and we can approach that in several ways. But one of the main ways is to deal with our body temple. Most of us in this culture are acidified. Most of our ancestors in the islands were conscripted to cut sugar cane. Sugar is an enemy of African people. We get so much diseases from sugar, excess sugar. Also starch and flesh foods. So we have to begin to go to the green, because green is a sign of resurrection. And green, the chlorophyll, is the blood of the plants. And we need to put that into our system. We need more greens in our system. Because once we do that, we will come into Ma'at within ourselves, and then we'll begin to relate to each other from a cleansed temple point of view. Because the body is the church. The body is the mosque. The body is the temple. The body is the cathedral. The body is the holy ground. And that we've got to bring into order. We cannot go to heaven in the pews and go to hell in the kitchen. We cannot go down to the kitchen after church and eat a whole bunch of sugar cakes, chitterlings, a whole bunch of macaroni and cheese and things that make us disease. If you tell me that Jesus was a healer, and every icon that I see of the one that called Jesus, he's as skinny as a rail. So how can we say we want to be like Jesus and be obese? Obesity is ruining our nation because we're eating the wrong things. So we must come into Ma'at. And when we come into Ma'at within ourselves, we'll begin to be able to have a more reasonable relationship with our brothers and sisters. We'll approach them in a spirit of love, in a spirit of helping each other, being there for each other. And that is how we will overturn the tremendous strain that we've been under, because we have not been in Ma'at, because we have not been in a Ma'atical society. The European likes to claim that he was the ancient Egyptian. And you know, we agree with him. He was an Egyptian, but he was never a Kemite. Okay? He checked the legacies. And he put African culture in a thing that they call Egyptology in order to hide and mask the origin of a system that came from the stars to the Great Lakes region and from there to spread throughout the world. And all the religions ought to bow and give credit to the ones who taught their prophets, because their own books indicate that the ancient people people of the Nile, the Africans of the Nile, were the ones who gave them everything that they got in terms of spirituality, including the bath. Hotel.
Now it's kind of broke it down for me in the forms of history, the health and well-being, the spirit and mind. Now, in the last part that we're going to talk about in the forms of economics, and I understand that how you make your jewelry and all sorts of kind of things to generate wealth in that format, in this physical realm. Just give us an insight on what you do in your shop and what you're about.
If we are going to claim a culture, we must use the inspiration of that claim to begin to produce from the inspiration of that culture. We need artifacts in our homes. Everybody got a picture of Yeshua or Jesus if they're Christian in their homes. We need pictures of Heru. We need pictures of our own symbols. We need to be wearing our symbols. And that's one of the reasons why I do what I do. People say, who taught you how to do this? I say, well, it's in my DNA. But if I claim this ancient culture of the Nile, I must be able to produce from its inspiration. Because when it's all said and done, it's the art that survives. Our art hypnotizes the foreigners to put it in their museums. And I need to say this. As much as the Jewish people harp against ancient Egypt, they contribute more money in all the world's museums that have an Egyptian wing. That Jewish people are the primary financiers of Egyptian artifacts in all the museums of the Western world, because they are very grateful, even though they would not say it out loud, for what the ancient Africans of the Nile has done for their prophets. All right. So again, I think by reclaiming our culture, we would see a great economic bonanza, because we need to have our drapes with lotus and papyrus motifs. We have to lay on our bed that our headboards have the eyes of Heru, so we can watch what we're doing. All right. We ought to have our sisters wearing the eyes of Heru on their ears so they can see what they hear, because a lot of us brothers come with a lot of stories to our women. So our women need to be aware to them into their ears. So that's why I make the eyes of Heru as earrings and so on. Another thing, we get married. We go to the people who enslaved our ancestors and busted up our families to get the wedding band. That has to stop. Come to the studio Pata. I will make your rings. I've had many, over the years, many apprentices who are out there doing work. So we must begin to feed our own economic regeneration and stop buying the brand names of ex-enslavers in order to consider ourselves as having fashion. What we do is more function than fashion. All right, and we don't call it jewelry, we call it joy-ari. Joy-ari is a Nubiphonic term, a Smaitawi term, which means to do, to make, or to create joy. So I joined the English word joy to the Metuneta word ari, which means to do, to make, or to create. So we do, we make, and we create joy. Because when I make things for my brothers and sisters, they be screaming and hollering and praising the Most High that they have found the artifacts of our culture being made by their own people, not by those who have captured our land in the land now miscalled Egypt, people making artifacts that their religion forbids them to be making. But because they get a lot of bakshish from the tourists from copying our legacy, so their religion is against it, that's what they do. So we should begin to own our culture by creating from the inspiration of our culture.
Thank you, Baba Ruth. But I want you to do me one more favor. I want you to say Black Ice.
What do you want me to say?
Black Ice TV7.
Black Ice TV7? Yeah. I don't know if we had a word for ice in Kemet, because I don't know that we had ice there. let's say come let's say come ta. Okay? That's the that's Black Earth. That's what I know about.
Black Earth 7.
Right, Black Earth 7. Because ice grows on the earth.
So that's our screen.
Okay. Black Ice TV. Okay. I would say Chem TV. All right. That's it.
Thank you.
Black Ice TV
BLACKICETV7 here in the United States of America at the Unity Conference here with the Father, my spiritual father, bringing their information, Mr. Smalls. Yeah, talk to us, brother, about why you're here, why you're supporting the day, and then I'm gonna ask you a bit about spirituality and the importance of it as Black people.
Absolutely. I'm here today at this Unity rally called by Sonetta TV with my sister Claudia from Ghana.
Hello, everybody. Peace and love.
And, you know, unity is an absolute must. All organisms in nature tend to want to unite. When an organism does not unite, it dissipates and it dies. So us being here together from the Hebrew community, the community, the Christian community, the Muslim community, traditional African spiritual community, and coming together around our different political views and ideas is essential, important, and fantastic, because it's been an absolutely beautiful day all day long. You know, spirituality is reality. And so when you think of African spirituality, you're thinking of the African human being relationship to nature and the rest of what's in nature, and the relationship of everything else in nature to them. And so the understanding and the practicing of that is what we call spirituality, you know, and really we should call it our African sacred science, because that's what it is.
But one of the things we ask a lot of scholars is, according to Kemetic science, does the heart think? Yeah, according to Kemetic science, does the heart think?
The heart think. Well, I try never to get caught up into esoteric kinds of stuff, because in African culture, Kemetic science is only one small aspect of African culture. It is one time in history when we expressed ourselves that way. But we were expressing ourselves before Kemet, and we've expressed ourselves since Kemet. The Yoruba, the Akan, the Dogon, the Ewe, the Ga, the Fan, and so forth. In each occasion, what we are saying is that the only thing that exists is what we call the divine. And everything else, including us, is an expression of an aspect of that divine essence having this experience. That is the knowledge that has to be grasped. That I don't exist as a separate, apart from creation. I exist as an integral part of creation. Creation cannot exist without me, and I cannot exist without it. That's African culture. That's spiritual science.
Yeah, that's blessed. I want to ask you another quick question. The other day you was on Sonetta TV and you was talking about a story about knowing Dr. Abio Oyibo, Dr. Oyibo, and I never knew that you knew each other like that, and that you also built a plane. Yeah, can you just talk to us about how long that process took quickly?
Back in I guess in the 70s, Grumman Aircraft Corporation laid off a lot of its Black engineers. Dr. Yibo was one of them. And Dr. Yibo and two other Black engineers, one from Nigeria, I think the other was from the Southwest US. We got together at City College and created an organization called OPAPIT. And I was the vice president of OPAPIT. And it was African organized to participate in technology. And it is that organization that built the plane in the basement and the backyard of the three engineers. And we tried to sell that model to African and Caribbean nations as a trainer aircraft, and we couldn't get any to accept it. And what Oyibo did was to put in all of the safety features that Grumman had jumped for economic reasons. They put it all into the plane. But we couldn't get any of our government to understand the importance of an airplane built by African scientists that they could begin to use to train their population and their pilots, and then advance that plane into a, you know, a greater model in aviation. But the fact that we did it is what's so extraordinary. And Oyibo has gone on to deal with what he called Gaga, to explain. No, what he explained was that what the white people is calling the unified theory is nothing but African spiritual culture. That's what he explained. See, if you get it right, if you get it wrong, you think he's replicating white folks' science. Get it right, he's telling white folks just copied your science. And that's what he did.
Rob, it's been a privilege to have you speak to me. I know you're part of the proceedings, so I'm not even gonna hold you up too much longer.
To all of the family in the UK, you know, to Paula up in Manchester, to Beanie down in Birmingham, to Doreen in London. Hey.
That's so. And just to close out, just say your name and that you're watching BLACKICETV7.
This is Professor James Small, and you're watching Black Ice TV. And speak up, sister.
Peace and love, everybody. This is Sister Claudia Yatta here. American-born Ghanaian. Nice to meet you all. I'm here representing my sisters in the community and representing Bible Small, supporting him. And greetings to everybody in the UK.
Peace and blessings, Hotep. And I'll probably be in the UK by December.
Alejandro Ballroom. It is the day of the event. We're here with a man looking nervous in the chair. Sarnetta. Yeah, we got him. Yeah, brother. As the man behind this Black Unity Conference, tell us, what is it you want to achieve at the end of the day? Like, speak to us about that.
Yes, first of all, I want to say shout out to BLACKICETV7. You already know what it is. Shout out to the Black UK that's out there putting in that great work. And what I expect to get out of this is to show people that even though you may see us going at it with the knowledge like y'all seen yesterday, bang with the knowledge, that's how we get it in New York. We are very passionate when it comes to the information, because just like the Hebrews, whether we can agree with their information or not, they love their people and they are passionate when it comes to teaching their people. It's the same with us. The reason why we have these debates is because we are still trying to figure it out. Who are we as a people? So we really don't know who we are. We think we are Kemites. We think we are Hebrew Israelites. We think we are Muslims. We think we are Moors. So that's why we are the only people that you see still arguing and fighting over who are we at this time. We don't know who we are yet, brother. We're still trying to figure it out.
So we want the deepest secret, because everyone's asking, who is Sarnetta?
Sarnetta is the entity that is trying to bring everything together. Whether it comes through war, when I say war, I'm talking about mentally, psychologically, battle. Whether it comes through the war, we got to sometime spark something in our people to make us think. And that's what I do. That's what the entity Sarnetta does. You know, I say things that may offend some people, but as they walk and they get back, so damn, you know what? I remember Sarnetta saying that. People walk up to me that I met 15 years ago, and I see them now, and they say, Brother Sarnetta, thank you, brother. I still remember what you said 10 years ago, you know? So, yeah, man.
Okay, so we're going to go even a bit more, as in the business mindset of Sarnetta.
Yes.
Give us the passion of what drives you, of what you do today.
It's just the love that I have for my people. That's the whole thing. That's the bottom line. That's my big son right there behind y'all. One of my big ones there, just one of them, you know. But the passion that drives me is just the love that I have for my people. And I love doing what I do. I remember when I first walked off of my job. I walked off my job about maybe 18 years ago to do what I'm doing. You see, it gives me more freedom. I can come in when I want, leave when I want, dress how I want, say what I want. I don't have to look up to no white man and ask him, can I leave the job? None of that. I do what I want. And when I did it, I was like, damn, should I do it? Because in one sense, I was afraid that my people would not support me. And in another sense, I was like, damn, I'm going to be able to pay my rent. So I just said, you know what? I'm going to go all the way. I'm going to put 100% into what I do. And that's when I started doing it. And the people were showing the love. It was coming through. So I want to also shout out the minister Louis Farrakhan. Whether no, let me finish. Whether you may agree with his philosophy or his science, that's not even the point. If it wasn't for the Nation of Islam, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, I would not be the man who I am today. And why do I say that? I remember when I went to prison in 1995. I was a savage on the street selling drugs to my people, you know, doing that crazy stuff. So I really never had the time to really sit down and listen to knowledge and information. So by me going to jail in 1995 was a blessing. It made me sit down. A young brother came by the name of Shabazz and started hitting me with videos. Not videos, but tapes, CD tapes. Hitting me with Message to the Black Man. Listening to the minister on WBLS every Sunday morning. And that right there, just listening to him, the white man is the devil. The white man is this. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, damn, the white man the devil? And I started listening to the message and it hit me right to the heart as I'm looking around the prison system, looking at these guards with black babies on their arm, with a noose on their arm as a tattoo. They would have tattoos of black babies on their arm. And I'm listening to the minister, the white man is the white man is the devil. I'm looking at the guards beat black people down. Just setting them up, beating them up, going into their cell, beating them up. The white man is the devil. The white man is the devil. And that's what really sparked me into this knowledge and information. So I'm saying, I'm giving all praise to the Nation of Islam, Louis Farrakhan. Shout out to my brother, man.
But yeah, as I was saying now, you know, like the other day, last week, we had the reparations march, and we had one in the park, and we were supposed to stream Farrakhan, and we saw the effect of them able to try and destroy. They said that if we put it up, they're going to ban everything, anyone that's associated with him. So it shows me a black man is an effect. What kind of information is he giving? So what kind of things does he do over here that people try to stop?
The messenger, Minister Louis Farrakhan, he does a lot of great things that people may not see out in the open. All you got to do is just look at the fruits of the labor. Look at what's going on. When I walk by Mosque number 7 and I see the babies out there, the young kids out there. You see him walk by just now. You seen him? I didn't even know he was in the Nation, but I seen him the other day in regular clothes. And now he's here at my event, suited and booted in the Nation of Islam on top. You see? So we could just look at his offsprings, look at what his message did to the babies and to the youth. Also, I got to say this. Without me saying this, I know my people are going to say, how can you say that without mentioning Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad? That's the man that made me a man. You see what I'm saying? Khalid Muhammad is the man that made me a man. Shout out to Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. Long live my brother. You know? Shout him out.
Yeah, I'm here with my man son there, and I jump in and ask you this one thing, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Why is the black media so important in this day and age? Because I'm trying to do my thing with Black Ice TV, you're doing your thing with Black News 1, 2. I spoke to Bubba TV outside. You know, we got Kalam over doing Talk with the Titans, but speak to the people about why black media is so important.
Shout out to my brother Kalam on Talk with the Titans out there doing this day. Great work, brother. Shout out to you. Black media is very important because we are the ones that's going to document our story. If we don't do it, nobody else is. And when they do it, they're going to chop it up, cut it up, and put it up the way they want. See, media is very important because we can reach people all across the globe. This is what the House of Consciousness has been doing. You know, all you wouldn't be here right now. You see what I'm saying? So this is why black media is important, because we got to go out there and tell our story. We could film what we want to film, and this is why YouTube is trying to really put a stop on black media. You know, they really trying to censor us. So you can't talk about religion no more. You can't talk about homosexuality no more. If you do, they censor you. They cut the video off.
The videos, yeah, or they stop you from putting it up full stop or talk about copyright. That's it.
Right. So that's why it is important, man, because we got to take our own information into our hands and give out to the people. Y'all got to interview Minister Inky next. You already know. You already know. So, you see, all this is House of Continents family right here. Peace and Black Power family, House of Continents, Black News 102, Sarnetta TV, Sarnetta University. Shout out to Black Ice TV, Talk with the Titans as well. Shout out to the UK family out there. Peace. We love you.
From Dr. Umar Johnson, we live and direct. I want to give a shout out to Black Ice TV. Make sure you watch it, support it. The news you can use, the information you can use. Youth, Pan-Africanism, economics, family, community. Make sure you support Black Ice TV because Dr. Umar Johnson does.
Greetings, 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 greetings.
What's going on, people? Black Ice TV 2017 coming to a close. What can I say, Mr. Riggs? Yeah,
it's been a wonderful year, as you can experience and reflect on what we've been talking about throughout the whole year. In that video, what kind of things can you reflect on when we went to New York and what it was about?
You're a funny guy, you know that.
Yeah.
Listen, I tell you what, yeah, it was a bit surreal. I was just sitting there with my brethren, just talking about it's a surreal thing when you meet certain people you've been listening to bits of information from for a while and having debates in bedrooms over for a while and all the rest of it, and then you finally get to sit down, ask certain questions and just clear the decks. Get certain answers real quick. Yeah, I mean, it's nothing better. Just nothing better.
Yeah, so I was also saying now, like, you know, when we was at the event and, you know, we went with the core, where we had Brother Nico, we had the People's Verses, and we had the Honorable, the one and only Prophet Konsu.
That's so mad.
And we had what we call Brother Ali, Queen Afua's son. What was that experience of being in New York like for you when you got over?
First and foremost, yeah, let me big up Queen Afua. Big up her son. Both of them, yeah, because remember, the Sarnetta's event was a sidebar thing. It was great to go there. But the realness of it is it was Queen Afua's camp that reached out to us and suggested that we make the trip in the first place. So let's make sure that we big her up for that. And it was her birthday as well on that same weekend. So give thanks to her for that invite. Because it was our interactions with her when she came over here that really led to most of what you've seen as far as the American interactions go. So definitely big up to her for that. So go in there and, you know, for me, I got there a day later than you lot. So walking the streets of New York straight, coming to the Black Lady Theatre, walking in, seeing her presentation, seeing Brother Ali. It was tidy, man. Can't get no better. Can't get no better.
And you know, the great thing that I always say is that I completed my mission. Because I was doing research on the what we call the obelisk, and it's a sacred pillar that's come from Egypt. And it's funny how they have a whole heap of these obelisks in a lot of the superpower countries, like the one in France, like the one in Turkey, like the ones in Rome, like the ones in the Embankment, which we get when we had that thing in Embankment. What do you say about that one? Because that one's quite interesting.
Bro, you gotta show that video, innit? That's what I'm saying.
We will show that video. We will show that video a bit later.
Today, yeah. Again, people, today, all it is we're recapping on the year. We're showing a couple of videos, and we're just talking about our experiences of the year, and we're going to be letting you know about future events and stuff that we're going to be doing. So
And
at this point, I don't know what video we're gonna run next exactly.
And if you want to join us, because this is a special day, if you want to come and join us, just mention it in the information link box and say, yeah, you want to join us and have this conversation with us, so that we can have a better understanding of what the people want, what the people want to hear, how do you feel that we should move and what we should do. And if you want to come and even promote your products, your services, and how we can work to do in forms of advertising for you, you know what I mean? Please jump on, come on. We will even probably put the link in the chat room as soon as we have a response.
Does that mean that people can ask us any questions?
Yeah, of course. That's what it's about.
That's a bit sticky. Calm down,
Yeah.
people. Yeah, be nice if you come on. Be nice.
But you know, first most, as I said, like we've gone through a lot throughout the years and all the kind of information, because we are what we call the school of thoughts. We don't discriminate any form of school, you know what I mean? Because every school has something to offer, whether you're Muslim, Christian, atheist, comedic science. But I'm just saying that we need to get a little information, because you know what it is? It's about culture first, because that's how it's going to maneuver us into 2018.
Let me say this. Yeah, when it comes to religion, and big up to Monique in the chat room. Yeah, doing her thing. Dagger Squad, big up every time. Garfield, the crew. But listen, when it comes to this religion thing, yeah, I gotta say, you gotta apply that hard and heavy strain to any information you take from these places here. Yeah, I know these Christianity and the Muslim thing, they're deep saturated things in our culture, you know, and our being after a couple thousand years of all sorts going on. But, you know, there are some key principles, but please remember where the principles came from, yeah? So if you really want a refined thought on it, go back to African spirituality. That's all I'll say on that one, yeah? But again,
yeah, as Brother Small said, can you hear me?
I can hear you, brother. Go to.
Yeah. No, as I was saying, as Brother Smalls was saying in the previous video that we was playing, and you could see that it says go back to that African spirituality, because it's not just fixated on Egypt, it's the whole of Africa and African people. Like as we say, the African people have left Africa, and now it's the African diaspora that needs to come back to save the African people, because it's only us that can make that change.
Hey, so let me ask you this, yeah, because you're doing most of these interviews. You know, we're both there, we're ever present. But what's been your favorite interview over time since working with?
Boy, that's a big one, because you know, being honest, the best part of my excitement is that UK USA link up, because you know what, anything to create, to build, or to give information for our people to move forward. Because like even for instance, Samuel Banter, he goes to the basics of able to empty out your subconsciousness and taking the information and putting in new information. That's what I call the first protocol, from that brain. Do you understand? So I had an excitement in that. But then in forms of interviewing, whoa, there has been a lot. Because like even we're going to play another video, which is to do with Oyinka and the Black Moors, and the way he breaks it down. And he shows you, you know what, most of even the black people at that period of time are now European. And that goes in deep, because he goes in further. You understand? So for me, every interview has been great, because as long as I can interview a black person, I'm great with that.
You know you're a politician, right? Isn't it? You know you're a politician.
Yep.
Answer, right? Yeah. that was a politician answer right there. Yeah. I want to have one person. All right, let me hear your top three. You got the Ghana Grills. You got Professor Finch. You got all sorts. Shaka most.
Okay, let me put them in category.
Give me some names.
Yeah, I'll give you some names. As I said, I'll give you in categories. I don't care what anyone says. Garfield and Monique are my family, yeah? They have given me more inspiration through a lot of things because we've netted work through them. They're the only ones besides Queen Afua that I've networked and worked with people that work with them. So when you have Monique, you have Garfield, you have Rawborn, you have the True Historian, and you know what, MBK, you got to big it up to them.
So big up to MBK family, Danny. Yeah, big up every time for your support. Big up for the shows, future link ups, definitely. Big up to Garfield and Dagger Squad. Yeah, Rawborn, we need that part 2 on the 5%ers. Come on.
And we need Garfield. Come on, make that money, make that economics with Monique. You know, don't forget Empress Setnet and don't forget Sci-Fi. They've been putting their input and putting all their work on SciNetta because you know what? We went to the Unity conference this year. What's going to happen next year? Big things are coming. So, like as we were talking. You know, there is one thing that I always say, SciNetta is building something new.
Terry, the people want to see your face.
They want to see my face. They're going to see my face in a minute. But you know what? First most, I'm going to show SciNetta's face. Because, can you see it right now? Can you see it? I've put up the
yeah, we can see it. We can see it. We can see it.
You can see it.
Let me look
the House of Consciousness. SciNetta coming soon, and we are looking to bring the whole of UK to New York to show that we are one big family, regardless of where you're from or who you are, because we are trying to make some form of empowerment for our people to move forward, as in the African diaspora.
That's so.
You know what I mean? So people, let's galvanize. Let's donate to this GoFundMe thing and GoFundMe SciNetta. Put your money in there. Let's have this event in New York. And if it happens in New York, we'll have one in the UK, like the BLACKICETV Awards. You understand? So we can show that we are both brothers and sisters out here.
No doubt. We need them USA Link Up Awards, definitely. The same way we need the Unity Conference worldwide. I think Simon realized that when we hit him up over there, you understand, he definitely got the link up showing. I know everybody from his corner is encouraging him to do something outside of the box. And now he's talking about coming here summertime. He's confirmed that he's definitely 100% coming. And he's going to be invading Speaker's Corner and a few other places.
And he's coming to promote the SciNetta Awards ceremony in New York, in London, on Speaker's Corner, and everywhere else. So we're going to accompany him around London and further. Because you know what? Big things are coming for 2008.
And that's him, Jabari, and Reggie, hopefully. That's what he's saying so far. So, woo, that will be big, boy. I tell you.
I can't wait for even Garfield and Monique. They need to come over. They need to come over London. The whole of America needs to come. Let's make it a storm. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about uniting to move forward. Regardless of who you are or where you're coming from, as long as you spend and stay black, this is what it's all about. Do you understand?
Now you see, that's another thing, and that's another set of people we've got to talk about. Red Pill, Blue Pill, Inky, KT, the Arch Degree, Supernova. This is the next set, the younger crew now, the younger gladiators, the Roadman. We got to get them over here,
the Inkies, the Red Pills.
Already been here. Go and look at the video. We might even play that one today, play a little bit of KT, where he came over with his wifey. They were sitting on the BLACKICETV couch, giving us the real deal. I mean, big up to KT every time and their family. But that's another one I'm definitely looking forward to. Yeah, we can see some red pill, blue pill over here, inky. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yep, and with that, we're planning to do our own international conference. As we were speaking to Monique and her and all her women followers, and we're talking about our powering sisters over in the UK. We're trying to collaborate them together to make a massive international event, which I want the whole of the African diaspora involved in this. We want to move it big. We're stumping grounds. As I said, 2018 is going to be a powerful year because what we did in 2017 is phenomenal.
Listen, let's not forget the continent as well, because we got some brothers and sisters over there right now.
Of course.
So I mentioned the Gambia crew, yeah, because we got Gambia people out there right
now. We've got people in Gambia. Even we had Grace and Amanda that just came back from Sierra Leone, Freetown. And you know what? I'll give you a little insider. They met up with the people called the Free African Society. These are the people that left America and the foundation for the Church, Methodist Church. So we're going to have more interviews with our brothers and sisters in the Africa itself. So, Richie,
what's the next video you showing, bro? We're going to this
now. We're gonna go a bit into a certain thing, because today we're gonna break it down. We're gonna go into forms of history. We're gonna go into health and well-being. We're going to go into mind and thinking, and then we're going to go into forms of economics. So all the things that we've gone throughout this whole year, and then how we're going to project ourselves into the future. Understanding Sankofa, understanding that we're going to take the past and evolve once again into that future, because we've got so much information, as this is the school of thought. So, have you got anything to say, my brother, Richie?
No, got you, bro. Got you. I'm ready for the next video. I'm ready for the next bit of information. Big up to Naomi in the chat room. Yeah, reparations march people. Always tuning in. We'll be talking more about them as well, because in the new year you're gonna see a bit more from the reparations crew. Esther, Leo Mohammed, a few others from that crew talking on that, and they'll be doing a series of shows, but we'll talk more on that anyway. Big up to Naomi in the chat room. Got you, bro.
Yep. And who else is in the chat room that we can big up? There must be a few here and there. Big up the people in the chat room. Can you big up any of the names in the chat room, Richie?
Cleo Jones, Rosemary. Yeah. Big up to all the family that's tuning in. People from Tennessee. Yeah, man, the usual. Where we going next, Terry? You're the controller. Don't let us have the DJ.
As I said,
got you. Tony.
I'm going to the next one. Yep. And now we're going to go into the deep information from Oyinka, the Blackamoors lecture. Yeah. And this is something that this guy needs respect, because he's got a program called the Younger Fellow, and he's going to be going into the a fellow before he was a fellow. Yeah, he's doing an actual play on this, which he's going to be touring around. But his book is phenomenal, which is called The Blackamoors of Tudor England. So we're going to get this in, and then we're going to break it up.
Listen, wait. Big up to Tony X, yeah, from Portugal, yeah, tuning in. Big up, big up, big up. Some of this information is relevant to you.
Of him, right? But his full name was, you want to know, the Augusto.
You got to turn it up, Terry.
And he was also associated with this person, Beethoven, who some people also accuse of fake. And this is also Beethoven. This is also Beethoven. but an image that we don't see often. This is the image of Beethoven used by contemporary writers. And this is his death mask. You can make up your own mind about it. So George Augustus Polyphony Bridge Tower was one of the most leading musicians of the time. A contemporary of Beethoven, a contemporary of Haydn, in fact excelled beyond all of them, died in Peckham in the 19th century. Yes, and yet we still know very little about him in terms of public consumption. Also, Joseph Antonio Emedy from Cuba, yes, the leading member of the Cuban orchestra, yes, and the leading musician from West Africa. He came in 1775 and became a violinist with the Lisbon Opera House before settling in Falmouth. This is Francis Barber, who along with Samuel Johnson helped to compile the first English dictionary. These are images of him. And this is his direct descendant, Cedric Barber. He's a direct descendant of the same Francis Barber. And this is an image of Pablo Felipe. Pablo Felipe, that picture is of Pablo Felipe's church. Pablo Felipe was a circus proprietor of the 19th century. Right? Who's been immortalized by many musicians, including John Lennon and others. And this is a picture of Pablo Felipe. And this is a picture of him upon his horse. He died in Stockport on the 4th of May, 1871. So, and he's buried in the Woodhouse Cemetery in Leeds. This is Diana Elizabeth Bell Lindsay, 1761 to 1804. The ward of Lord Mansfield. And some might say that she exercised influence upon him. And this is Job Ben Solomon, in a painting by William Hall of Bath in 1773. Job Ben Solomon was very important because he came from West Africa, Gambia, from a prosperous Muslim family. At the age of 29, he was captured as a slave and taken to the coast, where he was sold and transported to Maryland, the USA. Despite the Englishman in the Royal African Company believing his story, he escaped, was captured and imprisoned, but during his incarceration, he went to lawyer Thomas Blewett. Blewett bought his freedom and brought him to this country. And they traveled here. This is important. Because whilst here, he studied and became proficient and a member of society, the Gentlemen's Society of Schooling, and helped to organize the collection of Muslim artifacts, which is still in the British Museum. And he did this with the collection from Hans Sloane. And yet, when we go to the British Museum, there is no reference to this Job Ben Solomon and what he did in helping to develop the collection for the British Museum. This is William Davidson. William Davidson is one of those individuals who was part of the Cato Street conspiracy. Here's another picture. The Cato Street conspiracy was an organized body of men who tried or attempted to commit some revolutionary acts in the latter part or middle part of the 19th century. This man was a revolutionary in some respects. And when he went to the gallows, in fact, he was part of the last group in this country to be sentenced to be hung, drawn, and quartered. The sentence was commuted to being hung and decapitated. But this is important, and that they were the last group. When he went to the gallows, he said it's an ancient custom to resist tyranny. And the history goes further to say that when another of their majesties, the kings of England, tried to infringe upon those rights, the people armed and told him that if he did not give them privileges of Englishmen, they would compel him by the point of the sword. He goes on. My only regret, he says, that he has children here. No other regret. So, there is also people like Robert Wedderburn. Robert Wedderburn is part of the St. Giles Seven Dials community of London. This St. Giles Seven Dials area was pictured like this. Was a racially mixed community. Look at this African man here. Right? Was a racially mixed community. This Robert Wedderburn is described in this way as someone who kept a boarding house, a field preacher, an anti-bank deposit politician, a romance fighter. This is how he's described. But in reality, he's one of the fiercest critics against slavery. in this country. He said with his lectures every Sunday that it was the right of the slave to kill the slave master. And this is his direct descendant, not on the left, on the right. Africans were present inside the British Army and the British Navy throughout the 18th and the 19th century. And were involved in every single major conflict in which the British Army and the British Navy were involved in, including the Napoleonic Wars. And their images are kept and portrayed. This is Trafalgar Square, the plinth of Trafalgar Square, which you can see coming out from today. Good, this is James Francis Dow, and this is his direct descendant, Francis Dow. And this image, the African, this is when they were recounting the victory at the Battle of Trafalgar. And this African man, part of this gathering, part of the gathering of veterans, not an isolated member, and certainly not a slave. This is Mary Seacombe. This is Bill Richmond. Bill Richmond is more than just a boxer. Bill Richmond, at the age of 13, witnessed and may have played a part in the death of Nathan Hale, the American spy, and then was exiled to America. And coming to America and being a man of colour, he stood up for himself. This is an account of things that happened to him whilst here. So please, these are not turn the other cheek type of people. He received taunts and insults as a publican, right? But full of gallantry, and becoming the spirit of indignation, he requested, this is the person who dared to stand against him, to resist at the present moment and meet him at the Groves the next Monday morning. Yes? And there he proceeded to give the man a complete milling. And this is his first time of doing it. Another time of the races in York, he was met by another man who was 5'9", a very large man, and weighing 14 stone. The crowd attempted to stop him from meeting this man and fighting him one-on-one. He did not, and this other man left the ring totally blind. Right? Another occasion, two men attempted to accost him, and he one after the other, and these were both soldiers. And in a further account, another man, right, who had actually been sent, weighing 13 stone, also attempted to accost him, right? And Bill Richmond also dealt this man a severe injury, right? But this man, Tom Quinn, was his nemesis, and he attempted throughout 1805 to find a methodology to attack this Tom Quinn. He met him at once in 1805 and lost. And then, with Tom Molyneux, right, and Master Kendrick, this is Tom Molyneux, right, this is Bill Richmond, and this is Tom Molyneux, they met. Like Tom Molyneux, the first time, the crowd jumped in and saved Quinn. The second time, Quinn beat him. But the point I want to emphasize is that Bill Richmond had agencies. Bill Richmond is organising these affairs because he can't beat him one-on-one. The agency of this is to understand that he can't beat him one-on-one, so therefore he devises strategies. So Africans were also present in the Americas since all. This is his father, Thomas Dumas, born in Haiti. This is another image of him. This is another image of Thomas Dumas at work. At work, yes, as Major General in a war against the Austrians, who single-handedly, Thomas Dumas single-handedly protected a bridge against Austrian invasion. Right? This Thomas Dumas is a nemesis of Napoleon, which is why you don't know about him, because Napoleon hadn't written out history. And this is Thomas Dumas's and Alexander Dumas's direct descendant. Here, this man on the right. This is Jacob Elias Johannes Capitan from Holland, also keen in that society. This is Ignatius, not Ignatius Sancho. This is Ignatius Sancho Frederica up in Sweden and Prussia. His birth name was Coochie, right? But he became known as Badger, which means trickster. He would play tricks upon the aristocrats. Look, you can see the trickster. He's taking the white piece here, he's showing it to you. He's mocking you, the audience, the watcher, right? He was a poet, an event planner, a master, a musician, an actor, and first court secretary to the Swedish court and chamberlain, accredited a library of over 900 books in French. This is John Panzio Tuxen, or Tuxen, right, from Sweden, who arrived in Sweden in 1857 and married into the royalty of Sweden. And this is an individual, a statue to Anton Willem Amo, one of the first and foremost historians, fighters, thinkers present in Europe, right, during the 18th century in Germany, a professor at Wittenberg in the 18th century, a professor at Halen Jenner in the 18th century, right? He mastered 6 languages. This man here is Andre Aguirre, friendly confidant to Garibaldi, the man that united Italy. This man was instrumental in the uniting of Italy. More Garibaldi. Now we come to the last point, which is about the Black Jacobeans. Because what I'm trying to illustrate to you about this particular subject is that, as I said to you at the beginning, Africans were present throughout the Northern Hemisphere. Right? So, when we come to the Black Jacobeans, Black Toussaint L'Ouverture, the Black Captain of Death, as he was called, La Mort Captain, Dessalines, we view these as exceptions, don't we? We often portray them as exceptions, but they are part and parcel of the same story that I've been talking about throughout 18th century. So, the last point. Are you still there? Africans were sent to Australia in 1788. If you didn't know. Africans were part of the first fleet that was sent to Australia in 1788. Right? And we're not just talking 1 or 2 people. We're talking a large number of Africans from this country who were part of that first fleet, who were living in this country. People like Thomas Alford, people like John Cecil, right? Some of these Africans were so dangerous, as John Fielding has told us, that the only way they felt they could handle them was to expel them. And these Africans are described in numerous epistles, such as Thomas Chadwick, Samuel Chillery, John Coffin, Daniel Gordon, John Martin, John Randall, John Thomas alias Copper. Yes. Now, this is important because when we see representations of the first fleet, and we see those.
Yes, my brother, Mr. Rich.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just laughing.
What is your opinions on Oyinka, man? Because boy, you know what, that guy there just dropping some science and some names that you have to just bring out your pen and piece of paper and just say, you know what, I've got to do some research.
Bro, people just don't know it. And again, you see what I like about him? He's talking about things that are certain times outside of our general narrative of the slavery dynamic. Because again, that was happening in the Americas at certain times. But again, what people don't understand is for a good period of time here in the UK and across Europe, there wasn't full-blown chattel slavery. It was even illegal here in England. So it changed the dynamics of how Black people were moving, some of the things we was able to do, which again, they still suppress. They don't want you to know. But it's all very funny. And again, when he shows the descendants of the people, that to me is comedic as well, that they're white. now. So again, if you don't know about erasing your history, get to know about it, because it can happen. Yeah, it can happen.
Yeah, it's all about that history, and that history goes in so deep. You know, like when we had the conversation with the true historian, and we was talking about the Masons, which I'm going to quickly put up on their platform, because I want people to go and subscribe to MBK, because it's called the New Black Knowledge. It's a page that you need to go to, support them, push them as much as they can, because they've got one guy that I call him a beast. And you know what? I'm going to even show you some of the information that he cracks down and he talks about, because it's subjects that we don't even like to talk about in history. When we was talking about the church and the Masonic order, what was your opinions on that, Rich?
I was just listening on that one. You know, the key element to know, or I will say on that, is simply that the masonry angle, you gotta know where it came from, innit? If you're not clear on where the origins of these things come from, then your journey into them will be very confusing and misleading. So that's what I gotta say on that subject, man.
Yeah, and as I said, we're going deep in the history at this precise moment, and we're going to show you some more other classics. So I'm going to quickly go to that true historian one, and then we're going to talk about even Brother Nico, one of our core members, and then we're going to go into some other stuff. We're going to go into Anthony Browder, we're going to go into SETI, and we're going to just go do the short ones, but we're going to break them down and show our reflection on all our history and understanding the potential that we have, that we can able to join together and grow. Because you know what? As I said, Sankofa, we have to understand and stand on our history to focus into that future. Stop working from now and working into the past. Stand on your past and look into the future. Because you know what? It's about the 5 generations to 20 generations of our children. Because if you're thinking about now, you're only thinking about yourself, which you take self as being selfish. So, you know, we're going to go into this video and we're just going to show you how certain things have been created and the effects that it has been, and stop demonizing things that we don't know nothing about until you do your research.
Listen,
so
big up to Robbie, big up to Ricardo in the chat room as well. Family showing love. Yeah, I mean, big up to all the family that's tuning in and supporting Black Ice TV throughout our inception and tonight. Yeah, big up every time. Run the track, son.
Yes, we go in.
Yeah. Tired of struggling, a nigga need to come up. I'm on the grind as soon as I see the sun up. Friends on the decline now, we here, they be transforming. After this prime now, we're here, yeah. They don't want to see you get it in order. I be running through their veins like a blood disorder. Love my aura, shine through the pain and torture. Grab my screen and open the things I took. Handle the truth.
No doubt. Listen, I want to first say peace to the UK, all right? Peace to Black Ice TV, all right? Want to say MBK, that stands for New Black Knowledge. We're based out of the United States, and we're just a pro-Black, cultural, African-centered organization. You know, we put Africa first. You know, we understand where we come from. We deal with the history, the science. You know, and we deal in positive content. You can find us on YouTube, New Black Knowledge YouTube channel. Definitely go there and subscribe. The MBK Live YouTube channel, you can go there as well. You can find us all over Facebook, the MBK Social Group, MBK Live Group, MBK TV, MBK Academy for the History, you know, all on Facebook. So, you know, I mean, the MBK brand is out there, and like I said, it's all about uplifting and sharing the information giving people the history, a lot of history sometimes that people don't know, dealing with history within the United States, within maybe the last 500 years, pertinent history, free Black people. We like to have an emphasis on that. And we got my man True Story, and my comrade, my right-hand man, doing his thing tonight, and he's gonna give y'all some good conversation. And that's really what it's all about. We thank y'all for the opportunity to be here to share the information.
Support the new Black knowledge movement. It's all about Black media out here, people. If you don't know, get to know. I'll tell you where we start then. We already know, people hear that word masonry, and we've talked about this already offline, yeah. They get the book, yeah, they got 1,000 negative imageries in their head of this concept of masonry. So why don't you let's start with where masonry comes from. What's the original concept before we get into any sort of warped reflection?
So the masonry that we're talking about, what people generally refer to, is European Freemasonry. And I want to be particular because there are fraternal orders that are throughout many societies, and they have similar functions. So prior to us having contact and engaging with this European Freemasonry that we know, in West Africa, we have orders of the same fraternity type, which means they provide similar functions to the greater society. Many of them are secret societies, and many of them deal with similar aspects as far as relation to the culture, like I said. So, for instance, in West Africa, you have Poro, P-O-R-O societies, and you have Sande, S-A-N-D-E societies. And within those, and in another society within West Africa that actually was ported or brought to the Americas through our experience in the transatlantic slave trade is the EKPE Society, E-K-P-E Society, and you can find that in the Americas, in particular Cuba. So those orders serve the similar functions to the community that Freemasonry at its core was supposed to do. So the Freemasonry that we're talking about in particular is this European system of Freemasonry in particular starts among us. Well, let's just put it this way. There are, throughout the expanse of where Freemasonry roughly starts or comes into play in the 14 to 1500s, there are various Africans that were a part of Freemasonry. There weren't tons, but we do have some of record and some that remain essential to history. One of them is Angelo Soliman, S-O-L-I-M-A-N. First name is Angelo. Now, Angelo Soliman was involved, and I believe he was in Bavaria at the time. His contribution to Freemasonry, he's West African who was a slave brought to Europe. His contribution to Freemasonry is at the time, Freemasonry was just a bit of a social gathering for certain men, a beer drinking type of gathering. And he brought discussions on higher level sciences and esoteric type of discussions into Freemasonry itself. So he's just one in particular. But going further down the line, the Freemasonry that we know of in particular is Prince Hall Masonry, which is considered Black Masonry, is started within America, in Boston. And Prince Hall, at the time, 1775, is him and 14 other men are made Freemasons in Boston. At the time, all of these men happen to be Black men. This is another question that we have to be put is they're Black men, but they're also free Black men. So one of the things we should begin to question is how in the hell did the before was America established, you have 3 black men walking around the United States, when predominantly we were told that everybody who was black was a slave in America. So with that said, they were made Freemasons. Prince Hall just happened to be named the worshipful master, or the highest position within Freemasonry. So why would we do that? There were some of the functions within Freemasonry that resemble West African societies that I just discussed. One of them is a sort of mandate that you take care of the incapable, or the ones who are not fully capable of taking care of themselves in society. And in particular, it is the widows, the ones who have lost their husbands, and the children, or in particular, the orphan children. So the goal, one of the goals that's within Freemasonry, people can look it up, is to provide for the widows and the orphans. Another role of Freemasonry that has similarities to the West African fraternal orders that we have. So West Africans are known as biologically, as well as Africans in general, in particular, how we bury our dead, and the reverence that we have and the ritual that we have surrounding the transition of our people to the various states. So our funerals tend to be ceremonial times, and they have, real value to us. So within Freemasonry, the members have dues that they pay, which go toward burial fees. So that's important. So now you're a part of a society where you can be buried and have a proper burial, as opposed to what? At the time, there was no what we call welfare state or social state, that if you die, you're going to be put, somewhere to be buried. You might be thrown somewhere rotting and dying somewhere. But this provided eventually for them to gain space by land to make a graveyard for their members, as well as do other things. So these are the things that some of the things they use Freemasonry for. Why do they do it? Because in order to collect fees for things, you have to be a registered organization of the state. That's just the way it goes. Yes, you can make an independent society, of course, but in order to say, okay, we're going to collect fees, and we as an organization are going to go buy a plot of land or conduct business, you have to be registered. Through Freemasonry, it provided a conduit where you could be a part of an organization in order to, get those particular tasks done. So what that also leads to is these men now are basically providing or setting a foundation for free black people within New England in particular. And so the people of the black people of Boston were struggling, obviously. This is 1774 and 75. And so we're in the midst, and these are some of the numbers. Most Africans are being imported. What they do is start to petition the Massachusetts Assembly to free the slaves. This is led by Prince Hall and these men. So they write petitions to free them. Obviously, it ain't going nowhere, but they start to gain a little bit more rights. Not necessarily all those Africans were being freed. The other thing which is important that most people do not know is that Prince Hall was actually one of the first black people to start the Back to Africa movement. So Prince Hall, once again, leads these other people in a petition, and what he does, he petitions the same Massachusetts Assembly for funds to take the black people of Boston to the west coast of Africa. And this is not a direct quote, this is a paraphrasing, but because where the weather is more conducive to their health, and they will have a chance to be free. This is Prince Hall. Roughly, 100 and some odd years before we hear of Marcus Garvey starting a Back to Africa movement. This is actually before the establishment of America as a country, because America got established until 1776. So before that took place, you have a black man who happens to be named Prince Hall, the Freemason, who is petitioning to take his people back to Africa, where they can be free. What he also does is he starts the school to educate the black children, in particular in the New England area, because they weren't allowed to go to the schools as whites. So in the schools, what they did, they mandated and set up programs where the school would teach you a basic education as well as have a trade. This is all, once again, in the 1770s, and at the most, America is 2 years old. This is what he's doing, and those men are doing. So the connection, why do they take this European system and do this? Like I said, it would be very, yes, they were Christian. Let's just get that out there, yes. But it would be very difficult to take African forms and establish them at this point. So they couldn't make the Voodoo society, or they couldn't recreate the Poro, Sandy, or Ekpe society in America. So what they did is, this is what we did throughout our whole experience. We began to syncretize, syncretize, these Africanisms. Those are two words people should look up: syncretism and Africanism. And so we took our Africanisms, like the way that we build community, the way that we take care of the orphans and the widows, the way that we bury our dead, and we looked at European systems that were available to, or that we could somehow have access to achieve those same goals. This is how we kept our Africanness and the foundations of the black community during these particular times. I'm sorry about the noise in the background, but I'm walking outside. Give me 2 seconds. The ambulance will pass by. I can still hear you, don't worry. All right, so with that said, I just want to get this out. This is an important part. That's probably why the ambulance came in hating. Nah, but so the key is, like I said, in maintaining this Africanness within the European form, because this is what we struggle with. Why would they take a European form to do all this type of stuff? So that's part of the reason. And the second reason we know that they did not abandon their Africanness is that the name of their lodge was the African Lodge. The African Lodge, showing awareness of where they're from and establishing themselves, although in America, letting the world know that we are still African. So Prince Hall's Lodge is the African Lodge. Right? Okay. Are we seeing how blueprints or foundations of a community are coming into play?
No doubt, definitely. Always a connection.
Well, we're seeing schools being established, a support system to take care of the disadvantaged, as well as beginning organizations. So, my brothers in Europe, there's something that you can see to see where the origins of this may come from, because it's not just limited to Freemasonry. There were other fraternal orders that provided the same type of services and what have you. So within England, you have something called guilds, G-U-I-L-D-S. And in London in particular, I think you have over 100 guilds. Yeah. Amongst those guilds were people like the barber surgeons, the goldsmiths, the bakers. So all of the trades have guilds associated with them.
Still have the Actors Guild. Yeah.
The Actors Guild and all those guilds. London was the key place in the whole world for establishment of these things. And if you notice guilds, and if you study guilds, much of what they have is what Freemasonry took to establish itself. They meet in those big halls. The leaders of their guilds are called Right Worshipful Masters. These are titles that Masonry takes from their system. Right? Because of the tradesmen. What happened was they took one particular trade or craft and married them with the study and the promotion of the liberal arts, or somewhat of a esoteric science. And that particular trade or craftsman were the Freemasons. And the reason that they chose Freemasons, because Freemasons were the church builders. That's why.
All right.
So that's why they could have chosen the barbers or the goldsmiths or anybody else for any reason, but they just chose the Freemasons, and they used the tools of the Freemasons and applied esoteric meanings. This is where you see things like the square, the compass, the level, the plumb, the ruler, But they, you know, make some esoteric meaning to it and apply it to the construction and the building of Solomon's temple. Right? So look at the guilds. And another thing you want to look at besides guilds is something called a friendly society. And England as well has friendly societies. And those friendly societies provide mutual aid and benefit to each other in times of distress. This is what we did, and this is why we use those forms, because as far as their function, they represent, I started the conversation showing you what we were doing in West Africa prior to a European and the fraternities that we had, right? Mm-hmm. So we didn't mock the European. We used their particular systems that we had access to and applied and syncretized our Africanisms in those forms. So those are some of the roots of, and of course from there, Prince Hall gets disestablished, and then it goes to the other places where small free black communities develop. So the other places it goes is Rhode Island, and after that it goes to Philadelphia. And these are central places of where free black Africans are putting down the roots of what people now today refer to as the black community. There was no community until we voluntarily chose to associate with one another. We cannot consider necessarily a community, although in the sense it is a situation where you cannot voluntarily choose those things. The enslavement on the plantation is not a voluntary association with the man right next to you, because months before you could have been fighting with him in Yoruba land and been of two different groups. But through this situation, you were forced to be together to form what we now, call black people, or so forth and so on. But after that, when you have a choice of what you can do, we chose to share common histories, common families, common bonds, and these become the roots of what people call the black community.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the reason that we chose these things and naming it is to address those things. So one of them is we chose to call ourselves African. Now, why would we call ourselves African? So the scenario that or the question that is always asked someone is, what do you call a Yoruba who has a baby by a Congo, but the baby is born on a plantation in Charleston, South Carolina? What is that baby? By the merging of all of these cultures that never would do it on, maybe under most circumstances, the Yoruba would never meet a Congolese person, right? But through these circumstances, and now these things take place in a whole new environment, the unification was that we were all African. So we chose to name ourselves. We had the chance to name our organizations ourselves. What did Prince Hall choose? African Lodge. What was the first church that we have? African Methodist Episcopal. We have an awareness of who we are. They didn't name us that. We chose that, and we chose that through the scenarios that I just described. You have people from various backgrounds coming together in a whole new environment, making something new. And so they're an amalgamation of all that's on the continent in us. Mm-hmm. And so those become the roots of Freemasonry and how we begin to use that. And then, at the same time, a couple of years later, you have the roots and the foundations of what becomes the Black church in America. But it is key to remember that before the existence of this first independent Black church in America, we create societies that resemble those friendly societies that I just mentioned. And those societies are called mutual aid and benefit societies. And the first one that we have is something called the Free African Society. You can look this up. Free African Society. It is created in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And we chose that particular thing because what did we do? We collected fees to take care of members who were in distress, and those fees also went to a fund for burial. See how we used it once again? This is before the church. We made free African societies, and there's a number of them, but we're only going to deal with this point, the one in Philadelphia. And that free African society is created because when they came together to try to make some spiritual organization, you have black men of varying different Christian organizations. Meaning that you have black men who favor Quakerism, you have black men who favor the Anglican Church, you have black men who began to favor Methodism, and they were fighting. So amongst themselves, they said, let's put all of those, somebody's playing Diana Ross in the background. But anyway, they chose to put all those to the background and say, okay, we need a mechanism to take care of us and the greater community. And this is something that we can learn from today. They decided to put all of their, I'm a Jew, I'm a Christian, and whatever, to the background and realize that the goal of it was to have a mutual benefit and a system to take care of the people in distress. So they formed something called a Free African Society. And then out of that Free African Society, later comes the establishment of something called the African, is that word again, it's 3 times before 1800. You've heard us use the word African to describe ourselves. Okay? So that church becomes the African Methodist Episcopal Church. And that is the first independent black church in the New World.
People, I hope you've enjoyed this. Brother Rich.
Yes, brother.
Yeah, but that was a memory and a half. I can hear something. Hold on. 1 minute.
Just running in the tracks.
You know, it's just that the autoplay. But yes. Family, I hope you're enjoying and seeing the things that of our hard work and labor that we are trying to do. And a lot of these videos and a lot of things have been happening this 2017. That's been amazing, you know. Rich, is your fellow friend still there?
Of course, my brother, man. One.
How have you experienced BLACKICETV7 for the 2017? What you've seen so far?
You know what, sir? I'm quite honoured over these observations still, but obviously I know your colleague Richie, innit? Because obviously I used to be his flatmate. Been living together for like 13, 14 years. You know, and I've seen him grow, you know what I mean, ask certain right questions. Obviously, sometimes it's through arguments and whatever. But
that's what debate is about.
That's all, but I'm starting to see it come to some, I mean, real positive fruitation, you get me? And I think it's a blessing that Isam, I met you, because obviously me and you have chatted quite a few times, and you know, we've come to that conclusion that it's preordained. You was meant to meet each other anyway. And it's nice seeing the positive aspects grow from that. You get what I'm trying to say, you know? And I just hope next year's better for you, for both you and Brother Richard.
Yeah.
I mean, you just get what you positively deserve. You get me?
Yeah.
You two are big men now when, you know what I mean? We keep talking about the blackness, but as we know, it's about understanding the true governance of it. You get me? You know, that's all I can say, Terry, unless you ask me another good question, which I keep telling you, mate.
Yeah, but I just wanted to ask a question. In your paradigm,
well, you've
where do you see us?
Oi. Don't get too mate, but go on.
In your paradigm, where do you see the progress of our people?
Wow.
That's all I wanted to ask.
Ooh, that is a can of worms question, boy. Because I tried to be, I know this sounds mad, so I'm not trying to be egotistical. I'm more of a quantum-minded thinker. So these things are still kind of minute movements. You get me? In the greater picture. You get what I'm trying to say? So when I look at it from that aspect, I still think we're stuck in the doldrum. I don't want to sound negative or whatever, you know what I mean? But, people like you and Richard is still kind of dime with a dozen. Because a lot of people talk it, but they don't walk it, I don't want to get into the racial thing too much. There's a lot of black people who look black as black, but they're acting white. It's a quagmire, man. It's a can of worms question that you're asking that has so many angles to it in how it expresses itself in this modern day. You know what I mean? There's many walls that we have to climb in when we're trying to deal with the consciousness of ourselves. You get what I'm saying? And that's all I can say on that matter, brother, unless you elaborate further and I can help you more with your question.
Nah, that's all I wanted to hear. And it's just about bigging and showing our black people that what we are capable of and what we can do and how we can use the social media to get to our people so that we can unite and build ourselves together. So if we can make a change and a massive positive change and to take ourselves away from that negativity energy, like as we had this big drama that we the UK, which is what we had. We were doing a lot of things behind, and one of our colleagues from the core who was living in that area, and this year was that drastic year of the Grenfell Tower. I'm just going to play a little 6-minute thing, and then I'm going to play another song from one of the guys that was from there, and then we're going to show you certain influences of what's been happening in our personal society against the things that have been happening to us at this precise time.
Big up to Nico Day, every time he will be gracing the platform soon enough, bringing that Moorish paradigm to us, talking about them basic laws of attraction, motion, rhythm, and so definitely big up to all the people that was involved in the Grenfell Tower event, who went through the drama, who supported the victims. Big up to Russ Ashby, doing his thing down there in Shepherd's Bush. All the people down at the village who supported the centre. Big up to my brother Mel, who worked with the volunteers from out of London, coordinating people on the efforts for the residents on the ground. So let me just say that now before you even run the track. But go right ahead, Terry, do your thing.
Yeah, but as I said, is that we got to pick up all the stores out there as well, especially like there is a shop in Tottenham, which is 643 Seven Sisters Road, London, N15 5LEA, and it's called Breckalicious, the healthy break lunch and dinner bar. They give you all the good food that you can get round the corner in Seven Sisters, and they call themselves Breckalicious. Two lovely twin sisters that are cooking the best food that they can cook for the people out there in Tottenham. So if you have the opportunity, go to that store and spend black. Or you can go all the way down into Brixton and go to Return to Eden, and you can meet up with the one and only Basil, which he has fantastic food down there in the Brixton Village. Or you can go right inside the Brixton Village and get a nice bowl of soup, where it's like the gonga pea soup or the green pea soup in the Brixton Village by the one and only Aoife, the organic, I've forgotten the name of the shop, but I'll come back to it. Or you can go to the Alkaline shop near 102 Brixton Hill. It's fantastic. A guy called David. He follows the protocols of Dr. Sabi, and he does all that healthy foods and so what.
That's
and
City, innit?
Yeah.
Say on Brixton Hill, right? Yeah, on the corner.
Yeah, Brixton Hill. Fantastic food up there. It just makes your mouth water when you eat them greens. You don't even think that you're eating greens. You think you're eating something else that has been missing in your life. Or you can go there every Thursday at the Ankwell Bean. Every Thursday, there is a guy, we call him the Quinoa Man. Oh my gosh.
My personal favorite. Yeah, smash.
It makes your mouth water every Thursday. He's there without fail.
Listen,
that guy.
People, 2018, look out for a segment I'm trying to create. I'm going to put this out there, yeah, into the universe so it happens, yeah. I'm going to get this guy that Terry, Mr. Riggs, is talking about to you right now, yeah. Uncle being, what day, Terry? Thursdays?
Every Thursday. He's there without fail, cooking the best food that you could ever eat.
Listen, we're going to get a segment where we're going to have him preparing a couple of these dishes. And I'm telling you, people, you do not know until you've tried some of these food, yeah? It's proper. Everybody that stepped into the UK, especially from the USA, yeah, has gone there. Every speaker that isn't from town goes there to eat, and they understand what time it is. I'm telling you, people.
They even do their book signings while they eating.
That's it. It's the one. It's the one. My personal favorite.
Okay. So yeah, and we have another vegetarian shop on North End Road in near West Kensington called 222 Restaurant, which is does a fantastic buffet between 12 and 4. Eat as much as you like. I've never seen a vegetarian shop that is packed. Even the Europeans are in there. They say they can't believe what they're getting. You know, it is packed out and it's owned by a Ghanaian. You know, so it's good to invest in our black people in all different types of food, because you know what? Our health is our wealth, and we will be touching on health. Anyway, but let's go into some problematic stuff that we were going through in the few times of this year of the Granville Tower, where we first did the introduction, where we gave you a little advert and showing you about meeting up at the obelisk, which we will be doing next year. And we want everybody to be there, to come there, to take that big photographic picture once again, because we're planning to do a photographic book, which can be placed as a form of a legacy, because we need to have legacies put down so that these youth, 5 generations deep, as I always repeat, can see this book and see what we did in the community. So I'm going to hit this one off and then go into the next one.
You step outside, you risk your life. You take a drink of water, you risk your life. And nowadays you breathe and you risk your life. Every moment now, you don't have a choice.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on.
You can choose is what you're risking it for.
I'm going to do it once again.
Make these
rewind.
Come back.
Rewind.
I'll come again.
Rewind that chat.
Because it wasn't sharing, but we'll do it again.
Sort it out, governor.
Yeah, don't worry, Mr. Richie Rich. Or Richard.
Whatever you choose.
Give us the money. Okay. Now we're back again. Let's start this once again.
You step outside, you risk your life. You take a drink of water, you risk your life.
Can you see it?
And nowadays you breathe and you risk your life. Every moment now, you don't have a choice. The only thing you can choose is what you're risking it for. Now I can make these people feel better and hang on a little bit longer. I can save lives. That's reason enough to risk mine.
Coming for doing, because I was thinking to myself, there's no way we're gonna make it here. I can see the thick smoke. One of the men brought in my apartment, the smoke on his face was actually coming smoke. I just took him in the front room, And I showed this picture earlier, I was taking him in front of him, I just sat in there. I knew he was going to blank anyway, because I didn't think he was going to have the strength to run in case he had to run anything. So I just left him there. There was another woman with a little child in my house, my neighbor Zainab. She had a little 2-year-old son as well in my house. And there's this two, I don't know if you heard about the 2 Syrian refugees, they lived right next door. And one of them was sitting on the bed, just reading his Quran. I didn't want to run. So I tied my child now behind my back. And while I'm doing it, I'm thinking, I'm next to this screen. Oh, I've got 6 children here. Help, 14th floor, 15th floor. Then the fire brigade came again to the house after they brought the people in already and told us to run out. Yeah, and I could see the flooding in the house. I could see it dropping from my window, and the film was getting a bit scarier. So they told us to run out. Yeah, I grabbed my girl, grabbed my daughter, and we ran. So while I was running, I hit my head on the wall. Yeah, because it was so dark, you can't see nothing yet. And the first thing that hits is just massive. I can't describe it.
And a big up to Mr. Reds for editing this video.
I did enjoy this piece of editing still, like this little cutscene.
Professor, your bird, there was nothing I could do. He just caught fire.
Oh, and about time too. He's been looking dreadful for days. If you had to see him on a burning day. Folks, he's a phoenix, Harry. They burst into flame when it is time for them to die. And then they are reborn from the ashes. Fascinating creatures, phoenixes. They can carry immensely heavy loads of that.
Black Eyes TV 7. Make sure you log in, subscribe. This is an occasion and a big day for all of us that need to come down to the obelisk on the 16th of July 2017. It's going to be a legacy. Rich, give us some information and tell us why people should be here.
On the 16th, what we're trying to promote is the conscious community here in the UK. We're trying to show actively all the organizations, all the entities that make up this community in the UK. And we're going to do that by gathering and taking this picture, yeah, which will show our community and be able to be used, future tense, for promotion, for advertisement, and for general informational update on the fact that there is a community, and a thriving one at that, here in the UK.
Yes, Uncle Konsu, give us something to talk about.
Yes, greetings. This is Konsu, author of Sacred Man. And, you know, I just want to say, I always say this, as people of the African diaspora, we are very successful individually. And as yet, we have not come together as a united front to do something in collaboration. So this is a prime opportunity. So once you hear this call out, tell your people and come down so that we can collaborate, network, and build together.
As this is a sacred obelisk. Now, Uncle Nico.
Hotep, greetings, shalom, salam. Peace to everybody out there. Yeah, it's very important to come out here. I'm down with anything that's to do with unifying, making history. We've got this great thing that comes from our land that's here. However it got here, it's here. We're here. Let's all come down, come together under one roof. Yeah, it's going to be big.
So people, on the 16th at the embankment at 2 p.m. sharp, make sure you arrive. Make sure you promote yourself. Make sure you wear the tops. Make sure you wear the identities of each group, each organization, each religion, no matter who you are. If you come from that African diaspora, make sure you're there on the 16th of July, 2017. Let's make history. Peace.
Wait. We can't win. They're too powerful. Look at all the weapons they have. They have it all. They have it all. But should that make you afraid?
You step outside.
Yes, people. That was that time for the obelisk. Are you there, Mr. Rich?
Yeah.
Yeah, what was it that was it the video that we was talking about Nico video? Because I'm not too familiar with the where it is.
Nico with Tahaka Bay. That's the one I wanted you to show.
Oh, the Nico with the Tahaka Bay on our platform.
That's all. Back to Black Ice TV.
Okay, now we get back to that Black Ice TV stuff. So we were talking about Nico and Tahaka Bay. Okay, you know that Moorish paradigm, that Moorish information, that science, you know, we're all one people, regardless of where you're from. You could be a Hebrew, you could be a Kemek, you could be a Moorish, you could be a Nation of Islam, you could be a Nawabian, but we're one black people.
What I find interesting, yeah, and I was talking to Nico the other day,
Yeah.
When people hear this Moorish paradigm, you know, they're used to hearing it associated with America. So, I know that took people back when we landed in America at the Unity Conference, and obviously Nico came with his Moorish garb and he was running certain talks. I know that was the first encounter for a lot of people to realize that there's actually British people that go on with that kind of behavior. You get me? So it was an eye-opener for a lot of people. So that was funny to me. And that's why I made sure that they did this interview together, because I thought people would get a kick out of seeing these two people together doing that. So yeah, run the track, brother, and let the people see what I'm saying.
Peace and love, family. It's your brother Tahaka Bay, and you're watching Black Ice TV7. Peace and Islam.
I set my spirit free. God set his energy. Feeling me is his remedy. With my black heart full of gold. With my black heart full of gold. With my black heart full of gold. You live forever. Most of you are smart, but you ain't clever. I ain't telling no more. It comes from creation.
Black Ice TV7 in the house once again. More on more unity. Yeah, from UK to USA. We've got Nico Bay asking the questions today of Tahaka Bay. What? Fire!
Right, what's up? This is Nico Day. Day with a D, remember, yeah? Nico Day, or aka Nico the Dub, yeah?
Islam, peace and love. This is your brother Tahaka Bay, Moorish World TV. But as the custom is in the Moorish Sign Temple of America, let me first arise and give praise to Allah. I give honor to his prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I give honor to Black Ice TV. And I give honor to all those who's doing the work to uplift fallen humanity. We know that there's enough work for all to do. So I give honor to all people.
Islamism to all the Moors that I've been meeting out in Harlem. There's a Moorish community, and it's beautiful out here. It's beautiful. I feel like I've met family out here, you know. Yeah, let's get into it. All right, how should we begin? Oh, it's my interview. Okay, this is my interview. All right, so all right. So talk to me, brother. Talk to me about. I'd like to know about how come such a wonderful jewel has been so quiet as kept, like underneath everything that spawned out of it. Yeah, without that.
I got to talk about you. Well, let me first give you a brief history. Of how we become to know that we're more. We become to know that we're more by the way of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Without the Prophet Noble Drew Ali here in America in 1913, telling people and teaching people that they was descendants of the ancient Moabites who evolved into what we know today as the Moorish American, or the Moor on the continent of Africa, as Spain. Without the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, I think that we'll be just grabbing straws. So let's first give honor to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali for first bringing that understanding to the people. Now, and bringing that understanding to the people, right? We get into, as the movement developed after 1929, it separated. People separated. And now things begin to take on a color of its own. Like whenever there's a leader that leads the scene, the movement begins to take on a complexion of its own. And that's what happened to the Moorish Science Temple of America. So the question is, how did it become how did a jewel like this become hidden? What happened is this. There was a cover-up. Without a doubt, there was a bunch of what we would call schisms within the Moorish Science Temple of America. And I would also say there was efforts not only by our own people, but by Europeans to make sure that it never gets out. So now that it is out, we must do what we have to do to get the word out to the people. But the bottom line is, it's hidden intentionally. It's hidden intentionally. It's an intentional cover-up to keep it from people, because these are the things that will liberate all of us.
So how intentional is it, and who's involved in that conspiracy?
With anything that will liberate our people, you can guarantee that the oppressor, the European, is the one that's behind it. However, we become partners in this conspiracy when we perpetuate the lie. You follow what I'm saying? When we perpetuate lie, for instance, when we talk about Moorish science, right? We actually talking about the science of the Moors. Now, ask yourself about the science of the Moors. The science of the Moors was first predicated upon building civilizations. The Moors today think that the science of the Moors is going and fight court battles all day. Now, that can be a part of it. Make no mistake about it. But the science of the Moors was building civilizations. It wasn't going in there fighting court battles in Spain. It was taking Spain out of the Dark Ages and bringing Spain up to a civilized state of mind. But today, Moors, even in America, they study fighting court cases so much that we forget to build our community. So my fight is not so much to go into the courts to prove that I'm not black. My fight is to demonstrate it in real time. And the way that we demonstrate it in real time, we build our kingdom where we find our feet. And then respect will follow.
All right. So I mean, like, where you're talking about things that we're putting our energy into, that where we could be putting it into something else that's more productive. How do you feel about all of this bouting between us, all melanated Moors, Israelites? I'm putting a little bit of my own thoughts into it, so I'll back off because it is an interview. But I just want to know your thoughts about all of this conflict of, you know, of all of these schools of thought, which is all our footprints anyway. Right? Good question. So what do you think about the, because you touched on the energy of, you know, one kind of fight, because it is a fight. That's right. The paperwork is a fight as well. We all right? That's the only, because some have been dubbed paper terrorists. So yes. All right. So yeah.
So when I talk about I'm not saying we should disregard that fight, but so many has got caught up in that fight that they disregarded the other fight. You follow what I'm saying? So you cannot find me one group of Moors that have built something since the passing of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. You can't find a community. You can't find a bunch of schools. You can't find somebody that is building in real time. So we got groups of Moors that are fighting a fight, but they neglecting another fight. And so the second question is, you say that, what do I think about the conflict, about all the schools of thought, if you will? Well, the problem
is to, like, rap freestyle battle, or even, like boxing bouts. Like, and it's a lot of energy, a lot of tension.
Absolutely, my brother. The problem is this, and I say it and I say it again. I've been saying it and I keep saying it. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali makes a statement that we suffer from the principles that delude the slavery. He said, you suffer from the principles that delude to slavery. Now let's think about a principle for a second. A principle is something that you live your life by. Now there could be a high principle or a low principle. Now the principles that delude to slavery is a low principle. Now in the diaspora of Africa, you cannot find one historical account where we went to fighting with one another because one tribe believed different. You cannot, only time that they went to fight if a tribe went so far off to the left and that they will begin to affect the neighboring tribe. But just because they believe Voodoo or another tribe believes something else, they never went to war like that. We only do that in America. And where else you can find us, because we suffer from the principles that lead to slavery. It's those principles that make me say, you a Hebrew, I don't like you. It's the principles that say, you got affairs, and now you did this and you did that. But in reality, the true wise person understands that we come from the same stock, if you will. And that we are the same people. Now, whether we see it alike or not, that's to each his own. But there's nothing to fight about. It should never be a fight about, because somebody understand a certain degree of knowledge from a Hebrew perspective, one from a Moorish perspective, and one from another perspective. Because at the end of the day, we all under the oppression of the European. We're being subjected. And that's a fight that we don't need to be fighting to try to prove that you're not a Moor or try to prove that you're not a Hebrew. That's a silly fight. We need to find the golden thread that unites everything so we can fight together, and that will solve the problem.
All right, so I think one last question. As the God figurehead of your association of Moors, where do you go from here? As the title of this, where do you go from here?
Brother, I'm gonna tell you, this is where we go from here. This is where we go from here, and I wish my brother would stand and people that would listen to this. This is where we go from here. There's only one thing that we can do. We have to live together with those who think like us. All so-called black people, all Moors, all Hebrews don't think alike. And because we don't think alike, we will not be a cohesive unit to fight alike. We need to get together with those who think like us, build a community together, put our finances together, and move forward. If we don't do that, we're destined for failure. So let me tell you this. If I say that I'm a Moor, I got to find 20 more Moors that think like me to start this community. If you say that you're a Hebrew, you have to find 20 more Hebrews to start this community. And then you're going to have to be able to provide something that the outsiders would like to buy from you, because now you're going to have to siphon that finance or those resources from them and bring it all home to you. The Chinese will do it in Chinatown. You see, Little Italy do it in Little Italy. The Italians do it in Little Italy. We the only one that say buy black, but when this black person don't think like me, I'll spend my money with him. He goes buy a blunt. He's not fighting my cause. I don't care how many unks he wear, how many turbans or fez does he wear. We need to have a people who think alike. We need to begin, and again, I can't say it enough, we need to begin to live together. You can't live across town from me and we fight the same cause. No, you got to look out the door and see my children and think they're your children and treat them like they're your children. You have to put your money in that grocery store that I build. And until we do that, we have nothing coming. Amish people do it. Look at you. If you're familiar with the Amish in America, the Amish people do it. The Mexicans do it. Let me tell you how the Mexicans do it. I don't want to be long with it, but let me tell you how the Mexicans do it. They don't have to be instructed to do this. See, we have to re-instruct ourselves because we suffer from the principles that delude to slavery. See, the Mexican, he comes across the border with a jug of water. He dumps the border with a jug of water. They converge on one little area. They become so populated that the local population feel uncomfortable and they move out. Europeans did it in Harlem with regentrification. Why can't the conscious people who think alike regentrificate an area and come together and move all those out? That's the solution. We must live together, buy together, pray together. We must do everything together. But now guess what? That doesn't mean that you're gonna be the Hebrew and I'm gonna be the Moor and we living together. No, the Hebrew can live in their community, the Moor can live in that community. We can put all of our money together though. And I can go to the Hebrew community and get something. You can come to the Moorish community and get something. Listen, that's how the world is run. That's how the world is run. Italians, Puerto Ricans, wherever you go, you can go to any people nationally and grab some of their staples. Then we should be the same thing.
Every denomination should make that law.
Absolutely. And so I want to say this in closing. If we don't do that, we're destined to fail. That doesn't mean that the brother that's behind the camera have to commit himself to more signs. No, there's many others that think like him. He can build the same community. That doesn't mean that the brother that believes in comedic science have to submit to more science. No, you get a group of comedic people that want to live together and put their finances together. And before you know, all the way around the country, we will have dozens of communities thriving. And until we do that, we keep fighting the wrong fight, thinking we're going to get people to believe like us. Nobody ever believed the same on the diaspora of Africa. Nobody. And you cannot tell me, and I say this one time, I get a little bit worked up. If you're not familiar, watch Moorish World TV. That's a shameless drop. But I'm saying, nobody can never tell me from the beginning of time where mankind agreed on everything. Totally. No. So because we know that as a historical fact, that mankind never agreed on, human beings never agreed on the same thing completely at all times. Because that's the fact. We got to get people that agree with us, and we got to move forward, and we got to thrive. And that's that.
So let's agree more on what we agree on. Yeah? Let's close that. All right. Islam. Peace out to Grenfell. Rest in peace.
Peace and love, family. This your brother Tahaka Bay, and you're watching Black Ice TV 7. Peace and Islam.
Yes, people. Are you there, Mr. Rich?
Yeah, I'm here, brother. I'm here.
Yes. And so far, on our reflection of what we've seen so far, going into this 2017 coming to a close, and we're seeing all these information and everything that we've been going through today. What is your reflections?
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna poke you in the eye when I see you next for that. There's only so many reflections I can give you, bro. But,
yeah.
You know, listen, as I said, on that video, I did enjoy watching the English more and the American more talk and, as I said, exchange ideas. And there's a lot more of that to come in future tense for the people. Then we are going to have Mr. Nico Day blessing the platform. And he's going to go into this Moorish paradigm and start from the very beginning. We're not going to be jumping in on no paperwork and laws straight away and all these other factors that people love to talk about. We're going to start at the beginning.
Yeah, go to the basics.
That's it. I want to know what it's about from the start, because this supersedes religion. I think that's what people need to understand. It's superseding this Islamic religion angle that people are attaching to it. Even though it's a heavy component of it, I think that needs to be established. So when my guy Nico comes on, yeah, and starts to talk again, we will have him going from the very beginning on the subject matter. So I look forward to that at least, as far as future tense stuff.
Yeah, but you know, to the fans out there and to the people that are listening, and so what, because we're trying to build a massive relationship with everybody. We want people to have their say and their talk and ask the questions and engage with us. I'm going to put the Google Hangout link on the chat room so that you can come into the chat room and dialogue with us and see where we're going for 2018. So just look into the chat room, and if you feel like you have something to say or you want to talk to us about certain things, about collaborating, advertising, promotions, uplifting the black people, looking at the problems that we have, creating problems into situations that we can solve, you know, just come into the chat room, come and dialogue with us, come and have a great information talk with us and see where we can go with this. So as I was going into the videos, I was just thinking, yeah, you know, remember the time back in the day when we had a dialogue with the one and only that we're gonna see on the 2nd of next month, which is practically next week. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I don't have a clue.
You don't have a clue. I say the first time we ever went to the British Museum and we went with somebody.
Don't have a clue.
Say.
Nah.
Rhoda.
Nope. Richie should know better.
Couldn't tell you.
Okay.
I've forgotten about more I've filmed than I've actually filmed.
Uh-huh. We've got someone on the 2nd of January coming in. Who have we got in the January?
Who's coming? Remind me. It's not Queen of Four, is it?
You made the arrangements, Mr. Rich. You made the arrangements, and you can't tell me you've forgotten about the 2nd of January. This Tuesday.
That's what I'm talking about. We're starting off the year. That reminds me. Yeah, that's all. Big up to Mr. Delon. Yeah, Ancestral Voices. Yeah.
I'm going to give the people an introduction into who he is and what he's about.
Listen.
I'm wondering should I do the part 1 or the part 2 of the video?
Which one are you going to show? Show outside.
The one outside the museum or the one inside?
Show outside. Where he's talking about Ancestral Voices. This is a video about our brother Delon, who created the DVD Ancestral Voices. He's got Ancestral Voices 2 out, and he's going to be our first show, hopefully, of the year on the 2nd of January, as Terry said. He's going to be coming on talking about Ancestral Voices 2, as well as talking about African spiritual rituals and systems that reflect bringing in the new year, and various things that you possibly could do based on wherever you culturally hail from. And yeah, have a look at that. What video are you showing now? The one outside?
The one outside.
There it is. You got it queued up.
Now, let's get it in.
Black Eyes TV, your host and interviewer Terry Riggs, talking to the one Delon from Ancestral Voices, the DVD. Take it away, Terry Riggs, here at the British Museum.
Hello, people. This is Black Eyes TV, and remember, Black Eyes TV, one word. Please subscribe to it and promote our thing that we're trying to do right now. At this precise moment, I'm with this beautiful and this guy is very incredible. He knows his information, he knows his ancestrals, and he goes back and forth. He's even made this DVD, and if you have the chance, try and see if you can buy this DVD, because this is a good DVD, good information that you can see. They've even got a top priest from Ghana. But today we're going to talk to Delon, and Delon's going to explain everything to us about everything that we're going to do today, as well as look through things in the British Museum about our ancestors, and we're going to talk through a lot of information. Delon, how are you today?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, Mr. Riggs. I don't know if I should spoil it, but it's Dalian. I don't know if you want to do Dalian. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I'm just letting you know that you can chop that off, can't you? Yeah, I'm good, Mr. Riggs. How about yourself? Thanks for having me on your show today. Yeah.
Okay, Dalian. Now, with your name at the end of the day, what kind of tribe are you from anyway?
Well, my mom's a Santi and my dad is from Ko. So because it's matrilineal, I am a Santi. Yeah.
Okay. Because I've always, like, since Kwame Nkrumah took over and like he called it Ghana, and a lot of people have taken that concept that it's originally Ghana, but for what I know of is that it was the Ashantis that were there, which were originally called Akans. Can you kind of elaborate on that for us?
Yeah, well, the Asantes are they formed a confederation with a few other tribes like the Fantis, like the Achin people, because the language they speak is quite similar. Yeah. So you have like tree, we have Asante tree, and even the Fantis, their version of tree as well, same, but you have a few, should we say, dialectical differences. Yes. So the Asantes, predominantly known to be in Ghana. I would say possibly for the longest time. But we also know that there's a migration pattern that can be traced from most people in West Africa anyway, from east. You know, some even trace it as far back as the Nile, because there are many similarities, especially between what the Asantes do on a spiritual, cosmological level to what the ancient Kemethians or Egyptians used to do. You know, there also used to be a very old kingdom in Africa called Ghana. So I believe that's where the name itself was chosen, I guess, to commemorate that old empire that was there, you know, in the days of be it the Songhai Empire and the Mali Empire. There was also a Ghana Empire. From what the sources I've come across, this was one of the influencing factors that led to Nkrumah choosing the name Ghana, because it used to be called the Gold Coast under the British administration.
Yeah, so now, like, kind of understand where you're from, and we want to go to in depth of what inspired you to actually go into film production anyway.
Well, going into film production is more having a kind of natural creative talent. You know, I've always been kind of quite into sketching, drawing from a very, very young age. So I've always known that I've had that creative element within me. And it's from, I guess, developing it, you know, going to college, doing a course in media and communications, that piqued my interest in filmmaking from there. Then I just continued it on through to university, and then, yeah, the rest is history, as they say. That's how I came into video production.
You see, like, as we look into the film production anyway, as a whole, it's not very easy. Yeah. And we're always trying to find ways to get that, put our evidence within like films and things like that, our information. How do you go about things, and how do you do the things that you need to do to get to where you need to be?
Well, different ways, you know. It depends on what you're trying to achieve first of all, and that will determine, I guess, how you go about it, you know. So for instance, with Ancestral Voices, the documentary, because it's a subject that people seem very ignorant about or seem to think is this negative topic, we found it very hard to raise funds for, you know. So for instance, the very first one, which is the DVD you just showed with this one here, we had to fund it all on our own. It was self-funded, you know, because we weren't getting anyone to come on board. But since we released this film, it's held in about 6 different universities across the world. I guess it has raised its profile such that now, as we're fundraising for the second, we are getting some support. But even then, we're still short of the limit, you know. But let's say if I wanted to do a film that was just generic, you know, about entertainment, just, yeah, something, I guess, not really insightful, or, yeah, just strictly for entertainment, perhaps there could be other funding bodies I could go to, which would be more willing to give me money to do. So it depends on the nature of your project, and that will determine, I guess, to a degree, a lot of how you can easily raise funds or not.
You know, like, this like for this second one that you're releasing, the second one that you're releasing now, and there was someone out there that wanted to help you out or put you on that pedestal to invest or try to do something to work beside you. How would they get to you?
Yes, well, anyone interested, because we work collaboratively and try and spread as much of our skill base as possible. So for instance, at the moment we're looking for music producers to contribute their music to our productions, you know, for Ancestral Voices 2 in particular. So we put it out there on our Facebook page, and so far we've got a lot of people sending in music, you know, and are willing to work with us, as much as we don't have the money to even necessarily pay them now. But in the event of, you know, things going well, film bringing in some income,
we will then also reciprocate. But we have a website, which is all the 3 W's, ancestralvoices.co.uk. So that's 3 W's, Ancestral Voices, all one word, .co.uk. On there, you can have the means to email us, you know, tell us exactly how you'd like to be involved, and then we can respond and take it from there. Also, on our website, we have a donation button that people can click on to donate to what we do. So that's the 3 W's, ancestralvoices.co.uk.
You know, and like for the youth, I'm always trying to show the youth out there, and even not just the youth, people that want to create their own business. Because you know, one thing that we have a problem with is that we create an empire, but we never know how to create the economy within that empire. Do you understand? So we tend to rely on others when we can actually do things like how our ancestors did their things in the past. So I was going to ask you, what kind of economy are you trying to create for yourself?
Well, in terms of the economy I'm trying to create off this, there's a lot of things that are going to come off this film. For instance, you know, we filmed all over the world. We went to Haiti, we went to Brazil, the States. You know, we've interviewed scholars, we've interviewed traditional priests, such as Credo Mutua, you know, the Zulu High Sanusi. What we're doing off the film, we had over 10 hours of footage, right, of hardcore interviews with serious information from different traditions. We cannot make a 10-hour film. No one has the concentration or patience to watch that. We have to bring it down to, let's say, 2 hours maximum. That's what we're aiming for. It might be an hour and a half, maximum 2 hours. But then all the extra information, for instance, we're going to go put in a book. Yes, because a book, the nature of editing a film, it makes certain things difficult. You have to do a lot of editing. However, with a book, that gives us more leeway to present this information in a linear format, and we don't have to chop so many things out. So the economy we're trying to build is off that. We could also, for instance, start delivering classes, how to build a spiritual practice in your home. You know, this is what we're trying to do with the information. So there's many publications that can come just off the film. Yes, and then from that, those works could also then support other video productions that we might do in the future. You know, so I'll give you an example. I did another film called As It Grows, which was about African textured hair and the issues around it in mainstream society. And some of the money that was used to be a fund or the equipment for it came from what we've been using for Ancestral Voices. So we're trying to get it to generate enough income such that it can sustain other projects. This is the economy we're trying to build around the project. You know, we talk about so many things. It could go into perhaps even in a long future term, acquiring artifacts of significance. It could then become a museum of sorts, you know, where these are all stored. So yeah, there's a lot of, we can build a massive economy around it, but again, everything becomes a step-by-step process. Yes.
Okay, now let's just get to this straight to this DVD. We'll show you once again. You know, if you want this DVD, you best come and buy it because they're running out, and part 2 is coming soon. Remember that. Anyway, yes, Stellon. On this DVD, let's have a quick breakdown on this DVD, and you know, because some people that don't understand it, what our ancestors did and what they found, the reason why they tried to give us the information, and we kind of nowadays dismissed a lot of things.
Yes.
Because that's all they need on Delon, yeah, because he's coming on the show, and as we left it, just where you paused it, as he said, part 2 is here now, so that is what he's going to be coming on the show to talk about. So everybody, watch out for that one there. It's going to be a tidy one.
Okay. You know,
Terry, I want you to go back in time for me, yeah?
Yeah.
I want you to go back in time.
The classics.
You see where that's all. Go right back to the beginning. There's the old man, and there's a video called Why BLACKICETV7.
What? No crown table.
Keep going back. Look at this now. Mr. Riggsy's dropped off signal. I don't know what's going on. All right, must be coming back shortly. Listen, I tell you what, people, it's been a pleasure and an honor this year. Look, it's been a pleasure and an honor this year bringing some of these interviews to a band. And one of the things that he's gonna show, here he is, he's back again, yeah, is a couple of the old classics. Because again, I want to big up the Unk Wellbeing Center again, because that's where Black Ice TV began. Yeah, definitely. So, you know, and I big up that center because they were nothing but encouraging when it comes to what we're doing, what we're trying to achieve here. Yeah, and the video I want Riggsy to find was shot there, definitely. Yeah. Riggs, you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
All right. Bring up them videos for me when you're ready.
Yeah, it's
My
going.
name is Abe Machineta, and a poet.
Hold on.
An artist.
Can you see it?
No, not yet.
I'm a poet, an artist, a writer.
Can you see it again? I don't know. Hold on. Let me come out and come back in. Yeah, as I was saying before, is that anyone that wants to come in and have a conversation with us, the link is in the chat room. And there's quite a few other stuff that we need to talk about. Hold on. It's not allowing me to share for some reason.
They're shutting us down.
Huh?
They're shutting us down.
They're shutting us down?
Is that why you can't stream?
It's telling me I can't share. But what we can do, has it got, are we on the timer?
If it's carrying on silly, then we can listen. Let's just talk about what we got future coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's no problem. If it's carrying on silly for tonight, that's cool. We're reaching the 10 to 2 time. We've been on for a couple hours. Again, the point of this evening was to just give a reminder of some of our memorable interviews. Let the people know, to everybody that has supported us on the roads, at the events, watching the YouTube live shows. Yeah, I mean, big up every time. You know, thank you to all of the organizations that are out here doing their bit and that have, you know, opened their doors to the black media side of the game and allowed us to come in and film and participate in shows, and the people who we've filmed the lectures and so on and so forth. Because, you know, without the black media side, it's just not running. You know, it's not running. So big up to the UK family on that side of the game. I definitely got to say that.
Yeah. So as I was saying, like in the UK link up, to the UK USA link up, as we have so much promising things coming for next year, where we've got TC and who will be coming in February. He'll be doing a few weeks over here, giving the workshops, talking about what was the name of the book again, sir? Do you remember?
You asking me?
Yep, sir.
Cannot remember
the male and female.
I don't want to get it wrong, so I won't even attempt it.
Just go for it. Let me hear what you got to say. I can see if you can remember.
Don't try it.
That's it. Don't try and drop man in it. Yeah. We're not doing that. Get out of here, bro.
Chicken.
Not that laugh, man. I don't trust you with the gold, man.
That's it.
Yeah. Are you sure about that? We all remember that. We all remember the kings and the queens. But
yeah,
do you remember?
I don't know about you, mate.
Huh?
Devil's pie.
Ah, man. But yeah, we'll talk about the kings and queens, which we spoke on quite a bit, which was the breakdown of male and female sex, and we went into the understanding of relationships with King Kevin, who broke down on his book and gave us all the information with Shazam, which was a fantastic tour that we did, which was great. So we're going to be having TC coming in February. Then we've got a guy that we've recently had, which was Richard Benson, who talks a lot on the
gentrification of areas
of education and gentrification, and he goes in deep. Because because a lot of people, I don't know if they know out there, that I'm a tour guide, that I take people around the world and back. So wherever you need to go to, I will take you there. Especially in London, where I reside, I will take you anywhere where Black people are in London or the UK. So you will see the history artifacts, you will see the party life, you will see the conscious people, you see the organizations, you see the education departments and all the museums and the archives. You need to where you want to go, I can make you have a fantastic week in London. So I am the man for it. And don't forget, we have what we call the Speaker's Corner. As I always say to the young ones out there, gang, 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 gang. And it's not the gang that you think of. It's the guiding of a new generation, guiding the youth to the right direction. You know, that's what they're about. So they go there, they go to the Speaker's Corner and they do their forms of debate and understanding. So that is, in the summer, I do believe you should come down every Sunday, come and unite, come and open up your mindset, come and talk about the issues, how we can resolve them, how we can create solutions, how we can build.
Or just come down and you get to argue with some angry Muslims, yeah?
Oh, but don't forget there's Christians, and there's Kemetic Science, and there's Nawabians, and there's Hebrews. There is a whole leap down there.
You only hear angry Muslims, man. That's how it is, yeah? Big up to our brethren Zara, yeah, doing this thing hard. They can't stop talking about him. He destroyed it. Big up to Callum as well, still smashing them up, but being nice about it and all of that
Titans TV.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, let's just talk about this for a second.
But for 1 second, before we go there, before we go there, hold up. Before we go there, we have to big up once again, the Godfather, because he has brought the debates to the platform of YouTube. There's only one person, and he's not from the UK, he's from the United States. He's one and only Sayonara TV. So when we understand the forms of debate, but understanding Speaker's Corner was your freedom of right of speaking your mind. And when you speak your mind, you can say whatever you want. Even the things that you feel scared of. It's the best place to be if you think you've got fear within your consciousness. You go out there into that battling field is your first protocol. So now you wanted to tap into something on that aspect. Go along, Richie.
First of all, yeah, let's big up to Content Over Everything, yeah, covering all of the recent debates, yeah, down there. He's been smashing it. I like his work. He covered the Libya conference the Libya march, should I say. So yeah, big up to Content Over Everything as well as Titans TV for bringing that aspect of Speaker's Corner. Now, as far as I'm concerned, yeah, most of the time when you're going to watch them videos, let's not get twisted, you're going to be seeing angry Muslims, yeah? you're not really going to be hearing from other types because I don't believe that they want it in the same way. Yeah.
But I can beg to differ on that.
Listen, bring them. I can't see the videos, brother. I only see videos of Muslim guys talking.
Yeah, because that's what is
different. Tell me something different. Talk to me, brother.
Because I'm there all the time. And
when Sarah was talking, why is it Sarah was only getting them, man?
He mentioned certain words which knows that he will trigger certain people. But don't get it twisted. A lot of people go back and forth on their forms of debate. It's a male testosterone thing. Yeah? It's where men come on a Sunday to release that steam. And they feel that they can come and debate.
And listen, at this point as well, we gotta mention that the separate entity that has emerged out of what Terry has just described, that mishmash of whatever foolishness, yeah. A black circle has emerged, yeah, and that's the side I want to talk about and promote, yeah. That's the gang type scenario that we're talking about, yeah. Again,
guidance of a new generation.
That's all. I don't know where it's gonna go. You know, big up to Respect, big up to Jedi and them man there that are down there.
And don't forget the gorilla of them all, the founder.
That's all. Big up to the #1 Garveyite, yeah, out on these streets, yeah, definitely. He knows who he is. He knows who he is.
Yeah, and he's the founder of it.
It's that movement there. Talk to the people them about, because obviously you have been down there the last couple months, scoping, seeing who's who. Big up to Ruth, yeah. Big up to a few other people down there. The names will come to me as well.
Yeah, you got the Honey Pharaoh, the Miss K, you've got the Kelende, you've got you got Mr. Gabs, you've got Callum. I can go on and on and on and on and on and on. There's so many people out there that are out there. But the one thing,
what this circle is about.
But this is where I'm getting to, sir. And as I said, is majority of the people that I have mentioned are from this circle and understanding this circle. It's about guiding the new generation, understanding the youths that are in gangs, and they're trying to get another way of dragging them out and showing them a new direction. Like we have a guy called Raven. Raven talks about economics, and he has a WhatsApp group like in a multiple way where people can join the groups and negotiate and chat and able to reason to create in some form of entity of unity. Now, understanding that when you go down to that speaker's corner and they do the G circle is for you to come there and come and talk about your experiences and what you would like to see be resolved.
Bro, so about a month ago, I spoke to Respect, yeah, and he was telling me about an initiative that they were trying to put into play, and we're going to try and have Respect and a few of them man on the show in the new year, definitely. But tell me what you've heard on this one, where they were talking about taking a set of them and going into inner city
but this is where, as I said to you,
well, what do you know about that, bro?
Yeah, but this is where I was going into it and trying to break it down in understanding what the G circle is about.
Please.
Now, understanding the G circle is for people to come along and deliberate and talk about their differences and their ideologies and what they think to inform of resolving or solving a situation or a problem within their community. Once you understand that when you come there and you display this, now these people of the circle, a bunch of them, will go there as in forms of security, as in forms of getting help, because they have people that are behind them that can go politically and help them to get to certain situations. I'm not going to talk too much on the details of what's behind the scene, because as you know, like Freemasons, they had secrets. Like you know, us black people, we have our own secrets. So we can't be talking about this online or to the general public. But there is things that are happening and things that are happening in an organized way.
Is this a black thing, bro? Is this a black only thing? Because I'm hearing you say communities and whatever. Is this for the black community? Is this for other communities as well as the
Ask yourself a question. Ask yourself a question. What does Black Ice TV stand for?
You tell me, brother, because I know Black Ice TV stands for the black community in the UK. Yeah.
So why would I talk about any other community?
That's all. I'm just checking, brother. That's what I like to get me, because it's all black
exactly
that this platform for the new year.
So understanding what they are about in protecting when children are getting misquoted by how teaching the youth the laws and the regulations, showing them the new ways of dealing with things, showing them that the things on the road can be done legit, where you can open up your own shop, your own business, buy your own house, do your own properties, travel around the world, that there's more to life than just sticking into one area code and thinking that you're making money that is not helping nobody.
That's all. Real talk.
So what they're doing is galvanizing. As you know, like Malcolm X, they started with their little things and they were all young. We need to guide our youth, because if we don't guide our youth with our wisdom, that regardless if the youth has so much knowledge, it needs the elders' wisdom, so that when they collaborate together, because we have a distance between the elders and the youngsters, we need to bring it back, that family. We're all family as black communities coming together as one. Whether you're in the States, whether in Africa, whether in the Caribbean, whether in the UK or anywhere in Europe, any black community must come together as the African diaspora. So it starts somewhere small and becomes somewhere big at the end of it. So they are doing their part, as in the G Circle, in understanding the youth. The youth can come down there and talk their minds, talk it as it is, believe in what it is, and able to analyze and find a solution or find a way of dealing with that solution.
I'm hearing you, brother. Most definitely. Big up to Black Child Promotions as well.
Big up to Manhood Academy. Big up to Origin. Big up to Brother Minka's Saturday School.
That's it.
These are people that are doing things within the community.
That's it. That's it. Literature, education. Yeah. These are the different formats and places that we need to be supporting, most definitely, in real time effect.
So understanding that most of these organizations out there, all this stuff, we are the people that are trying to connect the dots together. One big jigsaw puzzle that needs to paint one picture, one unity, one people. So as we're reflecting again till next year and having an understanding of what we're trying to do next year, like we've got, like I even have to apologize to the public out there about Samuel Banton, about he had certain situations which he could not do the other three, but he says he will bring the next 3 classes next year, which is next month, within a week. So we're going to try the best as possible, and we're going to bring you a lot more of what he does in understanding the mindset, because we need to clean our mindset out. Then, as I said, we've got new stuff in forms of relationships, which Richie might have to talk about, but we're going to have loads of couples coming in, talking about their situation and how they built their life and how they're doing their situations and how they deal with other stuff. Or you can go back into our archives and go into the Kings and Queens, which you will find people like Dalion, Black History Studies, and much more, talking about relationships, talking about how they deal with it and how they come around with it.
Yeah, that's right. For the new year, yeah, what we're going to be doing, and again, it's going to be marked off these new set of shows that we're going to be introducing called the Black Love Revolution. Yeah, and they will be kicked off with hopefully Shaka Most and his lovely other half will be coming on and kickstarting those sets of shows where we're going to be looking at relationships and various other bits. Sister might be involved, a sister who you may see on the Kings and Queens series of shows. We don't know, but we definitely have other people coming on and blessing the platform, talking about aspects of the Black family, aspects of the Black relationship, and different things on what we can do to strengthen our bonds in our household, because that's where it all starts. So look out for those shows. You're definitely going to be seeing me and Terry again on the UK-USA link-up shows with a lot more people. Look out for the brother Jabaris, the Reggies, and all the usual Sardnet family coming on, as well as the MBK family, as we've talked about. Brother Danny, True Historian, Dagger Squad, Garfield, and I definitely want to do a lot more. I'm trying to hook up personally for the new year, some more collaboration shows with, hopefully, and I'm putting this on the ether, content over everything. Jedi, Raspek, Callum, Gabs, Sarah. You get me? We definitely want to bring some more shows. People versus definitely need to be involved. The core as a group need to come together, and I definitely want to invoke more British panel shows. As we said, look out for the Reparations March shows, where they're going to be giving you a whole series of shows leading up to their 5-year anniversary this year. So they're going to be talking about different aspects to do with the Reparations March, what it's about, what they're actually asking for, etc., etc. So yeah, those are definitely some aspects that we're going to be bringing. As far as debates goes, we'll have to see about that one. Because
Yeah, but majority of what we do is, as I said before, is the school of thoughts.
Well, this is it, and we wanted to get out there clearly. So again, we'd rather you debate in the chat room or debate after the fact, as opposed to us getting good quality information out to the people that, again, you can go away, research, discuss in your own circles. And again, if you want to query it after the fact, write to us, send us the email, come in the chat room, let us know what time it is. Definitely.
And to put to that, there's a thing that we're looking for. If you feel that you can come on board, because we're going to have a women's group of our elderly women and our young women coming together and talking about issues and situations, and you feel you have something to talk about, please inbox us or email us at blackicetv7@gmail.com. So if you've got anything, or if you feel that you need to advertise your business or whatsoever, or promote your business, or you want to invest in like advertising with one of our shows, please inbox us on blackicetv7@gmail.com. So in saying that, there is many more things. We have great websites coming up. We have great businesses coming up. There is many things that's coming for 2018. We're even trying to raise money for this international conference. So if you're interested, please inbox us and we can give you some information about what's going on. As well as that, we're looking for more people to create more shows of the African diaspora, as well as the African people. So if you feel that you're in Portugal, you feel that you're in Spain, you feel that you're in Nigeria, you feel that you're in Gambia, or even Ghana, or even in New York, South Carolina, Jamaica, Barbados, wherever you are, wherever the black person is, and you feel that you've got something to say, let's have a dialogue and let's put this on blast so that people can show how big a family we are, as in African unit.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Most definitely. Listen, people, again, 2017 is coming to a close. I don't know what you're planning to do with your life and your times, but remember, information is there to be researched and learned, and principles are there to be embodied. Yeah, not just for the headspace, but to actually help you to live. That's the point of this. If anything we're showing has no practical nature, please jump on the blow and let us know, yeah? Because that is the purpose of what we're trying to do out here. Provide different blueprints to have a better way of living as Black people today in the diaspora, as Mr. Riggs always talks about. Yeah, so never forget this, please.
So hopefully, if we're gonna do another treat before the year is totally and absolutely ended, we're gonna have an open show for everybody to have a dialogue before the first of the year, first day, first month, first time of 2018. So we will negotiate this, and we're going to have another show like this open to the general public. We want you to come and dialogue with us, come and reason with us, and see where we can go within the community. If you have any information of stories that you need to talk about, call us. And don't even forget, we always forget one guy that we are always with and we're going to be working with is HMPTV, Mr. Robert. He is doing his work out there, and we're going to be working with him. And please subscribe to his YouTube as well and see the information that he has given us on our archives.
Definitely. Look out for him. Look out for the future collaborations on the Black Eyes TV live streaming events that will be coming up, and that function will be available soon enough. So yeah, definitely big up to HMP TV, doing big things out there. When you're talking about Boyce Watkins, Queen of Furs, all sorts of other big names in the community, he has been on the front line, as well as community action work. We got some footage from him not too long ago about a young man who was banned from his school for having dreads. Our brother was down there, same thing as covering some of the Grenfell behavior and working with other organizations such as the Manhood Academy, 100 Black Men. He's been at Screen Nation. He's all over the place, just the same as we're trying to be. So yeah, definitely go out and check out HMP TV. Big up to Brother Robert every time.
Yeah. And don't forget, we've got Brother Unk and his Nagas trainers. We will be showing you the advert on the next time we come on. And we will be showing you other stuff when we come on, because we need to promote all our people as much as possible. So even with the Red Pill clothing, even with other clothing that we've got out there, they're all coming soon. We're coming with a bombshell for 2018.
This is the year, people, where economics will be driven. None of this is not possible without a sustainable way. So when it talks about shops and such, again, look out for Black Eyes TV stores. Will definitely be up and running. There was way too many glitches for this year. So again, I had to pull the plug and say, you know, it is what it is. And we made the executive call to leave it until the new year. But that's definitely going to be in full effect. Mr. Riggs on the wholesale side of the game definitely is out there for all your needs. If you're a business, if you want to sell, if you just want to stock up on your things, yeah, again, contact Black Eyes TV7 right now for that. Yeah, or Mr. Riggs, HKTH, Knowledge and Travels. You'll find him, yeah, on Facebook, Mr. Riggs. Yeah, and you can right now get a lot of your health needs met and literature needs met. But for the new year, again, look out for Red Pill, Blue Pill clothing line exclusively coming to England. Can't find it anywhere else unless you're jumping on a plane right now. So we're definitely going to be bringing that. A few other British brands, as well as your health treats from the Queen of Furs, the Inkies, the KT, the Arch Degrees, as well as books and literature. So this will be.
And don't even forget, Stephen Sally. He's one and only.
Listen,
he brings you the Marindina stuff.
That's it, the one and only Stephen Sally. Big up to our brother who has supported Black Eyes TV from the beginning, and he pops up on various videos. And again, look out for him, because he's another person we'll definitely be having on a live show to come. So yeah, Black Eyes TV stores will be dropping for the new year. You will be able to get all your bits and bobs from there. It is going to be your online European option for all of your stuff from the conscious community. And your, you know, as I said, drop in, find out what's going on through that pool. There'll be live footage going up on there and all sorts of bits. So look out for that for the new year. And again, right now, I cannot stress enough, if you see books, if you hear us interviewing people who you know have products and you're looking for anything, contact Black Eyes TV7 right now. Mr. Riggs can fulfill your orders right now and deal with you in this space that we find ourselves in. So don't hesitate to investigate about books and health products that can be dealt with right now. Riggsy.
Yes. And as you can see, it's all about the new beginning and understanding. When you have the opportunity, hashtag power moves. Any move you make that power move, because that power move is your legacy. And if you want to make that legacy to help your next generation or new generation, make that move. Hashtag everything you do, power moves. Now, as I said, like for all the stuff that we're going to do, we're going to come back before the year is out, and then we would go a bit more on dialogue on all other information, because we're going to cover on the forms of health, and we're going to cover on the forms of economics, like the people like, as I said, like Victoria Walker, Dean Oakey, Lola. There's loads of people that are in this economical power. We're trying to formulate something. If you have an opportunity, try and sign up on Facebook, the Solution Rooms, and find out MBK, how they're doing their stuff. Make sure that you put a little donation into Signetta's GoFundMe page, so that we can take a whole heap of UK people all the way to New York. Let's make an impact and show how big a family we are, because it's not just one side, it's about us being all over the world. Yeah. So, family, we're going to start maneuvering. It's time for us to move and start to build. Let's stop the talking and let's do the doing. Yes, Brother Rich.
Yeah, I got nothing more to say. It was nice speaking to the people. This is a new one for us. Yeah, usually we have a guest on and all of this. But again, we've been doing this for a little while that we thought, you know, fuck it, we'll just talk to the people and give our viewpoint and show a little clips of what we've done so far. And again, thank the public for all your support so far. And we're looking forward again to the new year. So big up to everybody. And as Mr. Riggs said, you'll hear from us again before the end of the year.
And one thing I was going to say is, if you need a tour guide and you need someone to show you around London and London's history, London's economics, London's health, London's mindset, organizations, we are the people to meet, because this is the information center of knowledge.
That's it. That's it. That's it. So once again, people, big up for tuning in tonight. It's been a pleasure. We'll come back again. We'll have some more clips, hopefully, for you, and a few more bits of information before the end of the year. And we'll sign out tonight. Big up, everybody.
Peace and light.
Peace, peace, peace.
Power moves.